Hello, everybody out there in podcast land. Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. This episode of the podcast is brought to you by Lone Wolf Paintball. Lone Wolf Paintball is an online supplier that has been around for a very long time. They've actually been Michigan's premier paintball field and supplier since 1987. Now expanding into the online retail store, they are really trying to do their best to supply everything you need to the paintball community. They have it all. You can head over to lonewolfpaintball.com. If you want Field 1, HK, GI, Dye, it doesn't matter. They got it. You can surf the website. You can check it out. They have what you need, guaranteed. And they also boast excellent customer service and same-day shipping. That's pretty badass. You could go to the website, order something, and it's going to be sent out that day. That's fantastic. That's amazing customer service. So again, guys, if you would like, you could head over to lonewolfpaintball.com. You could also check them out on YouTube and Instagram. Their Instagram is Lone Wolf PB, and their YouTube is Lone Wolf Paintball. And you can see and keep up to date with all their latest deals, their sales, their content. It's a lot of really fun stuff. Play the Game Podcast is excited to have them on board, and you guys should head over and become part of the community. All right. This episode is brought to you by Transfuse. Transfuse is the only all-natural electrolyte drink that you guys need to have in your cabinets. We love this stuff. We've been using this for an entire season now. This stuff is amazing. I feel great when I drink Transfuse. I drink it every single day. I don't go a day without putting a packet of Transfuse in my water. It's very easy, very portable, easy to travel with, and delicious to drink, which means that you're going to love drinking it and you're going to drink more of it, which is going to be incredibly beneficial to your health. Has magnesium, potassium, sodium, which are all amazing for proper hydration. It has zinc, vitamin C, vitamin B, and choline. These things are incredible cognitive enhancers and immune boosting formulas that you don't want to miss out on, especially in times like this. I'm telling you, I drink Transfuse every single day. I love it. Tyler does as well. Anybody who has tried it has been just pouring with great feedback back to us. There's a reason that they're at all the NXL events, and a lot of the top teams and top professionals are using this product. Do not walk around dehydrated. I never realized how dehydrated I was, even when I was drinking all sorts of water. It's not enough. You need the proper nutrition. You need the right ingredients. Transfuse has done a great job of curating the perfect formula. Transfuse is absolutely spectacular, and for all of our listeners, there is a special deal for any Play the Game listener. If you head over to translabs.com, that's translabs.com, and use code PLAYTHEGAME at checkout, you will get 10% off. If you subscribe, which means they auto ship you your package every single month, whatever you want, whatever type, whatever flavor, whatever electrolyte formula you desire, they will give you an additional 11% off. So it becomes a 21% discount exclusively for all Play the Game listeners. Huge, huge shout out. And we are incredibly thankful for our supporters. And if you guys would like to go support them, it's translabs.com. Use code Play the Game. This episode is brought to you by G2 Paintball. G2 Paintball is back, and you guys should be incredibly excited. If you are in the area, in Arizona or anywhere on the West Coast, you want to make sure you do not miss this. Being in paintball shape is one of the most important things to being a top-level player. Not just a top-level pro, but a top-level player in any division. If you are trying to win tournaments, you want to be in the best physical condition possible. Paintball is so physically demanding. It requires so much of your physical ability, and G2 Paintball is designed to help you maximize that potential both on and off the field. G2 Paintball played a huge role in our World Cup win. It pays dividends to get out there and do these exercises, do these kinds of training. It is so difficult. It is very tough, but it is going to put you in position to win events, and that's what we're here to do. I teach this at all of my clinics. I always preach the importance of physical fitness in paintball ability. You can get all the way to the finals, but if you are only at 60% and a less talented, less skilled, less experienced team is at 90 or 100%, they are likely going to beat you. Do not let your physical ability be the reason you guys are not winning events. Get signed up for G2. If you guys are in the area, make sure you get active, get involved. It is owned and operated by Victor Gamboa and Rusty Glaze. You have players like Tyler Harmon, myself, Ryan Greenspan, all part of the entire G2 program. You guys can stay up to date with everything at g2paintball.com, and we hope to see you at an event very soon. What's going on, PTG fam? Thank you guys so much for tuning into the show. As always, we are incredibly thankful for you guys coming to hang out with us. This episode, we have Henry Sentz of Baltimore Revo on the show. It's really great to sit down and get the Baltimore Revo timeline, the history of the team and Henry. So cool to hear how they worked their way up through the divisional ranks. They really took the hard way. They did things on their own. They built an organization through divisionals, won through the divisionals, had a semi-pro team, and then took the big leap to the pro division. Took them a long time to have the success they're having these days, and they're still chasing their dreams of winning a pro event, but they have made such progress. Revo is a threat at every event, and this last event, they dominated. They knocked out Houston Heat and Impact on Sunday. They looked really good and had a great performance, and I know that we're going to see great things from them in the future. So it was really cool to sit down. Again, I'm a huge fan of the team, and even more so after this episode. Without further ado, we're going to hop in the show.
That was an insane inside move by Marcelo Margot. Great communication. And the crowd starts chanting Harmon. Great shot by all the guys. Tyler Harmon saved that game. He came out with 2 wins. Marcelo Margot was on fire.
Hello, PTG world. We have Henry Sentz for you guys today, and girls. We're having a good one here. We got Henry talking about the most recent event and everything that's going on with Revo. How's it going, Henry?
Good. How you guys doing?
Doing good,
man.
Bro.
Yeah, thank you so much for joining us, dude. It's about time we get someone from the Revo camp on here.
Yeah.
Appreciate y'all having me, man. I'm excited for it.
Dude, the honor's all ours, brother. And we're excited for you guys. You guys have been making some big waves, obviously, in pro paintball and doing a lot for the paintball scene and the community and just having fun playing paintball at the highest level and pushing it, to where it needs to be is a truly athletic sport and something that we can, watch us all as a community grow into as this thing develops into the future. But where are you at? How's everything where you're at? What city are you tapping in from?
I'm in Baltimore, Maryland, born and bred here. So
shout out to Baltimore.
Straight up Revo right there.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, it's only me and Steven left from the Maryland area. So it's cool to have, a little piece of home still here.
Impressive. Who's your favorite football player of all time?
Oh, come on, man. Ray Lewis.
So damn, even though he murdered someone?
I had to do it. I had to do it.
Oh, come on, man. You get shunned around here for not answering that right.
Yeah.
Hey, honestly, I mean, look, he wasn't convicted, and Ray Lewis is a dominant football player. He was one of my favorites to watch. 100%.
Animal.
Yeah.
Animal.
Yeah. I was definitely rooting for the Ravens in the Super Bowl when they won. Ray Lewis is just a beast, and the way he trains, the way he approaches sports. Absolutely a fan of how he did that. Definitely a savage.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Lamar's up there, man. That guy's going to go down as a GOAT in history.
Yeah. Shout out to the GOATs. Let's get it.
Shout out to the GOATs.
Love the hat.
Thanks, bro. Yeah, you too. We got the GOAT hats. These are actually, if you're a GOAT member, that's the only way you can get one of these hats. So it's pretty cool. We've just made these for our little community members.
Okay.
Yep. Not little. They're actually big. Our goats are big. We got big goats in the stables. They're amazing, and we love them. We're so proud.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Man, dude, you got to be excited because the Ravens are fun to watch now.
Yeah, I mean, the whole entire dynamic of our offense has changed since Lamar's came on, and it's been very interesting. Before Flacco and all them, it's just been very cut and dry offense. And
were you a fan of Flacco?
When he won the Super Bowl,
I wasn't even a fan of him then. He was like the one, and it's really hard for me to root for a team if I don't like their quarterback. But I just have never been a big fan of Joe Flacco.
I mean,
what happened?
He just
interviews.
He was the highest paid quarterback after the Super Bowl when he went downhill.
Yeah.
He did. He really did. And he did play good in the Super Bowl. Obviously, you have to win a championship. But I can never jive with the interviews that he would give and the way he spoke about himself and his team. It wasn't my type of player. But
I mean, everybody hyped him up, but it's like, was he really good, or was it Tucker putting up 20 points a game with field goals?
Right. Right.
There we go, Tucker.
It was a ton of field goals. Yeah. That's so true.
Hey, it takes a team. It absolutely takes a team to win these
100%.
things. Yep. That's man, that's so important. All the listeners out there, I'm sure have been through that as well. Just making sure that every single individual on the squad is dialed in. And Revo, man, you guys have been looking super sharp, man. So you guys have definitely been dialing in. What has the last year or two looked like with your guys' training regimen? Have you guys changed anything, or how has that developed so dramatically?
No, I
Is it
mean,
because?
the practices, the training, all that stayed the same. We've always kind of gone in to the layouts with the same game plan, dynamic, and just how we want to do things.
Mm-hmm.
It's just we've added a few pieces over the year. This year we added Chris Shear, who's been a big help. The year before, we added Frank Antomaso, also a big help. Keeping the core guys around, Darula, Zaleski, having big years, Steven.
Chris Shear played really well at this last event. On Sunday, he balled out. He balled out. I mean, a lot of you guys did. You don't go and have the Sunday that you guys did. You guys took down Impact and Houston Heat. You don't do that if everyone's not putting up, but Chris really impressed.
Chris is the type of kid, and it's crazy because like a lot of us are getting older now, so it's like playing paintball twice, 3 times a week just isn't a thing anymore. And before the first layout dropped, we had our team meeting Thursday night, and Chris is like, "Yeah, I already got 2 days on the layout," and I'm like, "Dude, he wants it, man. The kid's super hungry. He came from NRG Elite where he was getting beat on a little bit, and he came out with an attitude as he's ready to smash people and, on a good team and see what we can really do. So the kid's got work ethic that's higher than anybody I've ever played with.
It's super important to pick up those younger players that are hungry and just, building a name for themselves, because they really do push the veterans, and you notice that in sports. It's good to have those kind of players come into your camp. I mean, Mikey has been a huge inspiration to everyone on our team, just the young, hungry guy that he'll send me messages throughout the week of like, you watching film, you doing this, like, what are you working on? And sometimes I'm like, it's a good little reminder. Actually, let's dial in. Let's watch this game. Let's do that. It's because they're hungry. They haven't had it yet, and so they're willing to do whatever they can to get that. And often that is a really good thing for a veteran organization.
Yep,
absolutely.
100%.
Yeah, it's so crucial. You got to have that.
Yeah, because I mean, like Dynasty, like you guys aren't spring chickens anymore. So what is it, Mikey and Arturo are the youngest kids on your team?
Arturo's older than me.
Is he really? I thought he was young.
No, he
ages backwards 30. Actually. Arturo, he's especially
the Serpiente. He's amazing. I think he's 34. He's 33 or 34.
No shit. Okay. So it's like on our team.
Actually, I think he's 35.
I think you're right. I believe
he's aging like fine wine, man.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
He looks
and he
great.
Works hard. Works his ass off, and he's got the paintball field too. So like we're talking about right now, he's able to get out there, get on the field, set it up before anybody else, play on the most pristine grass in the world, and really dial in. So
you know what though, Henry, too, in a sense, he is kind of the young guy on the team too, though, because to me, I age the years based on how long you've been in the pro league. You know what I mean? I think there's a difference in like the hunger. He still has that almost like a fresh, mentality. Just got into the league, has a lot to prove, and is really hungry. I think he's been in the league 4 years now. But it's still, to him, he still has that same hunger, like when you first come in the league and you have a lot to prove. So, and he's in such great shape. It's crazy, So I'm like, I forget you're older than me. It's weird.
Speaking of that, the Paintball Troll's most recent post is pretty funny. I don't know if it's for the YouTube, I guess. It's
yeah, I saw that. Ryan. Yeah.
No, I don't know if I don't know if they tagged. No, they didn't tag Ryan or anything. Oh wait, yeah, they did.
Did they
put
really?
In the comments, they said waiting on Ryan, aka Graybush, to start endorsing Fiber One.
Dude, oh my God, you know what we need to do?
The Paintball Troll, he's been on fire lately.
Listen,
but Ryan's playing some of the best paintball he's ever played in his life. He's
for sure,
and he's having fun. Age ain't nothing with paintball. You can play paintball and get old.
You know what we have? You know what we have to do, Tyler?
What?
We have to get Pro Paintball Troll on the show somehow.
Oh,
he can tap in like with the voiceovers in a dark room. He doesn't have to reveal himself. Dude, that would be fucking epic. That would be so sick.
We got to get him on the show.
That has to happen.
Yeah,
but Paintball Troll stinks. Paintball Troll used to be the good one, in my opinion. I thought Paintball Troll used to be really good.
He's hitting hard these days.
Yeah,
that's
but I don't
think.
Do you like it? Do you like Paintball Troll stuff?
I think Paintball Troll is better than Pro Paintball Troll.
No way. You guys are crazy.
It's a toss-up.
I
they're
feel
both
like
putting out quality content,
Yeah, Paintball Troll is going right for the throat. pro paintball trolls making funny stuff.
You're correct. Yeah. See, I think paintball troll is like just
harsh.
I'm like, dude, that's just too much.
Yeah.
It's not even funny.
Some of the posts I read, I'm like cringing, but I'm laughing.
Yeah.
Hey, whoever the paintball troll is or pro paintball troll, good for you. I mean, you guys are having fun. It's kind of crazy.
Same person?
Yeah, it very well could be. But it's
wait.
It's
I hear you know who it is actually.
So this is the second time I've heard this, and before Tyler got on Heat, the Heat guys cornered me because they thought it was me, and I literally had to like pull my phone up, open Instagram, and show them all my accounts. I'm like,
well,
it's
a good troll wouldn't leave it logged in.
Of course, so it is you.
Oh,
wow.
My political grammar is not that good.
So how funny is that? We have the pro paintball troll and the paintball troll on right now.
Stop. So.
Dude, you know what's funny? I'm looking at Paintball Troll's page right now, and I'm realizing like sometimes I get him confused. I thought some of these posts were pro Paintball Troll, but it's not. They're Paintball Troll.
Yeah.
Like, okay, yeah, these are kind of funny. These are funny. Hey, look, they're both doing great. We'll take either one of them. So I wonder if they listen to the show. If so, it's funny too because sometimes pro Paintball Troll will like
the DM.
He'll have like a conversation with me on Instagram like a normal person, and I'm like, "Oh, you're human."
Tyler, imagine if this is Marcelo playing dumb and he's actually a paintball troll.
Yeah, there's so many layers to this matrix.
Yeah, there's
right
layers.
Now.
It's just that's just not my thing. Some people have been like, "Oh, is it you?" And I'm like, "It's not. It's not me. I promise you, it's not me."
Yeah. I could see it being like Rich Telford, somebody like that.
Rich Telford, he ain't got time for that. He does not care about that. No way.
I don't know, man. It's like it's the people you would never expect. I would imagine, right?
Yeah, so someone like Kyle Spica. Or like a Nick Laval. I know we thought it was Nick Laval for a long time. I could see
Laval doing it. Yeah.
We thought it was Laval for a long time. But no, we've heard that it's someone like in your area that you guys know.
Not that I'm aware of now.
Yeah, from what I understand, that holds true. It's some team or some person on the East Coast that's running that.
So I would imagine any smart individual that's talking that much smack, right, would never tell anyone. Because if one person found out, chances are that kid's gonna get his ass beat in an event.
I hope. Yeah, I don't think so either. Because it's honestly, it's all of it is stuff that like I think Pro Paintball Troll has it in his thing. We're all thinking it. It's so like spot on sometimes, and it's it's meant to be said as a joke, and it's like should be taken lightly. I'm sure some people take it personally.
You got to still walk the line right. You got to do it right as the Instagram account. But they definitely do.
I like that nobody knows who it is. I want it to stay that way.
I think it's funny, and he shits on our team a lot. So
yeah, I mean he gets me a lot too. Yeah,
I still laugh at it.
You have to. How could you not? How could you not? These are great. But it's somebody that's definitely like kind of in the know too. You know what I mean? There's some stuff that he posts that I'm like, you're not just a divisional player. I don't think you're a divisional player. I think you're a pro. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe not though.
Maybe totally one day the truth will come out.
Well, we're gonna get him on the show.
We're gonna have him on the show. That like, dude, totally blacked out in a dark room with the voice changing things. That would be so amazing. He's gonna have to make a fake email alias so that we can.
I wonder how that interview would go, huh?
That would be hysterical.
That would honestly be the best show on the internet.
He'd come on like with the Peter Griffin voiceover or something.
There we go.
So good.
Love
fantastic, man. Henry, dude, let's talk a little about this last event, and then we'll get into kind of how you got into paintball, your upcoming and the whole Revo franchise. But you guys had a fantastic event, man, and Tyler kind of alluded to it. Did something change? And really, I think it was more this last event than the first couple events of the year. You guys struggled a little more than Revo should. You guys have a lot of good players and been doing it for a long time. But this last event, something clicked, and especially Sunday, you guys taking down two of the Titans. What was going on? What about your practices felt right? Was it something to do with the layout? Was it something to do with mindset? What do you think was going on?
I mean, it was a little bit of everything. So I'm sure a lot of people saw it. We went in with a super short roster again. The biggest Philly was, a main component of why I felt we didn't move on. We've had the curse of not getting our full roster there all year, whether it be guys having kids, injuries, so on.
Totally.
So we had 7 guys going to the event. Our 7th guy being Jake, who is a kid we're still getting in the mix, teaching the rope. He's not really seasoned yet. So we went in with 6 guys, and I mean, when you have 6 guys playing an event, it's the mindset of you have to play well. There's no other, exception.
Mhm.
We're playing that many points. If one of those guys isn't pulling their weight, we're going home early.
Mhm.
So like in practice, we did a really good job of mixing things up like we normally do. Everyone playing everywhere, and throughout the event, it helped because, obviously we're running Zupa and Dan and the Snake. Dan got hurt, Chris got hurt, and Zupa got hurt. So we had to mix guys in positions they normally wouldn't see them in an event. And, thankfully, how we practice, we were able to still, have a strong showing with, those, upsets for us,
Mhm.
Yeah, I think it's actually that's something very interesting, getting a player kind of out of position and letting them play somewhere else. You kind of see them develop, right before your eyes and do things. You're like, "Whoa, here we go."
Mm-hmm.
They're playing that style that they've always had, but having to transmute it into this whole new side of the field and different ways of processing the field and navigating it. So it's really cool to see that firsthand. And it happened, right out there in Chicago for you guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, like Chicago, I started the event on the Dorito side, playing with Chris. Dan got hurt on Friday, and then by Sunday morning when we started playing Heat, I was playing the Snake side with Zupa and Darula just because of how things were mixing up. Thomas went Dorito side, and by the end of the day, Sunday against X Factor, I don't know if many people knew it. Chris ended up going to the hospital.
No way. Oh
Yeah,
man.
so he had heat exhaustion and his sodium levels dropped to
Holy
like
shit.
around 100. So he was like, we thought he was having a panic attack just because how he was acting. But like he
Oof.
was like, the doctor basically told him if he would have flown home that night, he could have had a seizure.
Yeah.
Whew.
Yeah, so it
Wow.
was like
That's crazy.
scary.
Well, I'm
So
glad that
What
he's okay through that. Wow.
do you
yeah.
mind me asking how he was acting that made it weird? And I only asked because that's actually something I struggle with. Tyler knows I've had it happen a few times in some of the hotter events because I sweat so much when I
Hmm.
do any sort of physical activity. It's really hard for me to keep, no matter how much water I drink, no matter what I do, it's really hard for me to stay hydrated and keep those levels up.
So like he was like after the heat match, he was just like kind of like acting a little spacey, was kind of sitting off on his own, which isn't really like Chris. And then like, we're talking to him, he's like, my vision's really spotty, I'm seeing a lot of white. I'm just cramping up. He's like, I just don't feel right. So he plays the first point of the X Factor match and he wanted to get up and his legs just locked up completely. So he
Sheesh.
hobbles back in the pits. He's like, I can't play anymore. And he sits down and he's just like twitching real bad. Kind of like looked like he was having a panic attack, right? Like I said
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
But he's
Jeez.
like, dude, he's like, I can't see. Like, I'm nauseous. Like, my head's just spinning. It was just like a lot of weird things going on. Cause even like Tom Cole's wife's a nurse came over and she's like, calm down. You're just having a panic attack, blah, blah, blah. And this was a kid that just slammed an entire bottle of Pedialyte, a Gatorade and 2 waters. And still went to the hospital and was still like his sodium levels were still dangerously low, dehydrated. So it's
Hmm.
just it's like crazy because like you guys have seen Chris, he runs several miles a day. He's in great shape, and it could still happen to the best of us.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
crazy.
Wow.
I'm glad he's okay. But that's really a bummer that that
Yeah,
happened in the X Factor max because you guys are already running thin, and then
yeah.
that poor guy, man. Jeez.
Well,
Yeah.
Alex had told us after the match we had played 38 points Sunday morning before we played them because
Yeah.
we had to play our 4th prelim game
Right.
Sunday morning.
I wanted to talk about that too because I mean that sucks. I'm just gonna put it out there. It is what it is. That absolutely
Hmm.
sucks because the amount of games that you have to potentially play,
Well, look
right?
at what
That's
happened. Look at
Yeah,
crazy.
this.
Yeah,
Look at
5
what.
games exactly. 5.
That's why he's,
Well, you can normally have to play 4 games in a regular event if you play the wild card, right? So that would have happened for the
yeah.
finals. Which, to be honest, I felt that way in Philly after Heat knocked us
Yeah,
out
but
in
you
the
have a
in the
lot of time to
semifinals.
prepare for finals.
Hmm.
Yes and no. When you're at that point, it takes that day to get back. I mean, it really does when you're at that point. It's pretty tough. You are right though, Ty. There's a pretty good break. And
Mhm.
actually in Chicago, during that break, I was kind of managing a similar thing. But when you get to that point, you're not playing the rest
Yeah.
of the day. When you get to the
Yeah.
point to where everything's like you're the rest of the day is
Lights out. Yeah.
off limits. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you
Mhm.
guys had to play we would have had to play potentially 5 matches.
Yeah.
So the reason I want to bring it up is because we've been talking about it for a long time. Yeah, the points are really fast and it's fun to watch, right? And it's entertaining and you have high scoring games, but it actually slows the match down because you have all the time in between. And this is the second event in the last 2 years that has happened. And you guys were actually part of the first time too.
Yes,
Yeah.
second time it's happened. Which the first time it was insane because we were beating the Ironmen 5-0 and they called the game. I'm like, dude, like this is ridiculous.
That was so bad.
And they came back the next morning and scored like 4 points. We ended up winning like 6-4. And I'm like, Jason, if we would have lost that, it would have been unreal.
Totally. Yeah. I remember watching that. Like, this was in Las Vegas, 2020. I was like, oh my God, if Revo if I was Revo, I'd be so mad.
Yeah.
Like so mad. Let's finish the game. Ironman have everything to gain. Yeah. And so, I get it. I mean, you can't play in the dark, right? Like you can't play in the dark. That's dangerous. You simply can't do it. So what do? You do have to put the game the next morning, but we need to make sure that doesn't happen. There's no time in the schedule for stuff like that to happen. You guys shouldn't have to play 5 matches on Sunday. You need everyone to be as fresh as possible. And just because there's a scheduling issue shouldn't put you guys at a disadvantage for competing for the championship. Right.
For the past couple of years, they've been playing these faster layouts, right? Would you say a couple of years now that we've been doing these faster layouts? Yeah. And there are certain layouts that are going to have an anomaly to them that are going to be a little bit zestier than the other ones. And you're going to see, a couple times like we have where this is going to happen. But I think that the only way you can mitigate that is to pull off a couple of these big bunkers. There's just an excessive amount of large bunkers, which allows insane moves to happen that didn't used to happen a couple years ago, just because there's so many bunkers that you can just run essentially, so it's gotten really fast, and we're seeing kind of the ramifications of that on a couple of these events where you got players having to call it because it's getting too dark and then they got to play the next morning. But it's definitely an anomaly, but I think there is a way that we can mitigate that kind of stuff.
I wonder how much it would cost to bring lights to the venue.
Oh, yeah, that's steep.
Have you ever had to play under lights, like recent?
I mean, not super recent. Yeah, it's not ideal, but I think it's a solution. I think it's a solution.
The last PSP event, you remember when the pro division got canceled in Galveston?
Yeah.
So, oddly enough, we get screwed again, right? So, our Friday game got canceled because of the storm.
Okay.
So Saturday, our first game started at 3 p.m. We played all 4 matches from 3 p.m. to midnight. And then we had to be back at the field at 7 a.m. for finals or quarterfinals Sunday morning. So you're talking about like awful? Dude, that was insane.
That's the extreme though, right? Like we're
you gotta be ready
not
to
talking
go.
about that. Sucks. That's terrible.
Yeah.
We're talking about more recently they've had like one match that they need to catch up on. That's the way it was in Vegas. It's the scheduling issues haven't been that dramatic to where it's multiple games. It's literally one split deck match. Another thing is maybe you do it the way all other sports do it, right? The better teams that get more views play in the primetime hours.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Maybe we get rid of split deck and we have the bottom 10, not even the bottom 10 place teams. You could be the 20th place team, but if a lot of people tune in to watch you, you're on the pro field. The top 10 most watched teams should be on the main field for all of their matches. And then maybe you sprinkle in like the bottom team gets just one match on the main field, right? And so you get rid of split deck and you solve the issue of maybe playing in the dark in that scenario. But something needs to be done. I think it's a second event. The first one, it happened in Vegas and it was like, okay, it's an anomaly. Maybe that won't ever happen again, but then it does. And it also seems now that it really hurt you guys, even though like honestly being tired, I'm sure you guys were exhausted, and obviously not having Chris for that game hurts, but X Factor did a really good job of shooting you guys on the break.
They were.
Like, Yeah, like and you guys were doing such a good job of shooting other teams on the break in the impact game, in the heat game. I want to talk about the impact game too because it was an amazing comeback. You guys started the game down 3-0 and then, it was 4-1 and you guys still came back and won by a point. But the X Factor game, it was like the roles switched and they were shooting you guys and you weren't shooting them, which could be chalked up to being tired too, the way you run, the way you shoot, all that kind of stuff. But
well, it was more positioning too, right? So like as I said, like I was playing like a 2 or the 3 on the snake side. So was Darula. Me, Darula, and Thomas were doing a great job of shooting on the break throughout the event. So when Chris went down, I became the one on the Dorito side. Darula was running wide on snake side. So there's 2 of our 3 guns that have been shooting really well now are running or shooting back up the center. So there we had. I mean, also not many people knew it. Zupa was hurt too. He pulled his hip or something. And that's why nobody saw him running into snake against X Factor. So thankfully Zaleski stepped up and was like, look, I'll play the snake. I have to. So, but like,
and Zaleski was hurt too. I mean, dude, Zaleski got reamed in the chin. His teeth went through his lip. That was insane. It's crazy.
Cause like we were talking in our meeting Saturday night, they're like, who's going to run to the snake if, Zupa needs a break? And I was like, look, dude, I'll do it. I don't really care. I'll run in there and trade with somebody. But there's probably better use of personnel. So like level, we tried to put Chris over there. Chris was like, guys, I don't want to play over here. I'm playing really well on the Doritos. And we're like, okay. And then it just basically came to a point Sunday afternoon where it was like, there's really nothing else we could do. We'll just go out there and see what can happen. And, Zagley came up short again.
Yeah, totally. I mean, when you are shooting really well on the break, it's tough to switch that up. I'd almost want to run anyone else, and leave your shooters where they are and give yourselves that advantage at least, But it's tough. Yeah, it's tough, man. You guys, again, obviously not having Frank too. It definitely hurt. I didn't know that I didn't realize that Chris didn't play much in the X Factor match.
He played the first point. That was it. And then after that was me on the Dorito side with Thomas.
Gotcha.
So, yeah, I mean, it was big shoes to fill. So, I mean, as well as Chris had been playing that weekend.
Right.
Well, I hope everybody's healing up okay because, you definitely just can't win tournaments unless you have, everybody dialed in and ready to give it all. Because once it comes finals time, it's a whole nother beast. That's a whole nother monster. Finals games are, typically, historically, a grind and an all-out war of attrition to see who's got more in the tank, and then they typically win. That's how it goes.
And it's funny because like the level match Sunday morning, a bunch of people gave us shit because the second point, we were down 1-0. We won the second point. I sat at the start box for 7.5 minutes and just let the clock drain off. And they're like, well, what are you scared they were going to beat you? I'm like, no, I'm scared that we're going to die halfway through the tournament because we don't have guys.
Yeah,
it's like at that point, like we already knew the situation, lose by 1 or win, we were in. So it's like, what is the point of winning 5-0? It does nothing for us.
I thought you guys played Damage Sunday morning in the prelims.
We played Damage Friday afternoon. So Sunday morning we played Damage, played Impact.
Impact. Yeah, that's right. Yep. That's right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, those were some crazy games on Sunday. Let's dive into Sunday. Let's talk about your journey on Sunday. You played Damage. Or I'm sorry, who did you play first?
Level was our last prelim game, and then when we got into the Ochos, we played Impact, who we'd already played in the prelims.
That's right. Yep, I was there watching, and then you played us and you beat us. So I kind of want to dive into that whole segment and just get your angle on what happened on Sunday there.
I mean, it was like Marcelo had already said. I think we went down 3 or 4-0 against Impact, and JC was kind of running around on us and Mouse, and we took a timeout, kind of realized what we had to do. We had to start beating Mouse into the snake, and we started sending Thomas to the Dorito side can, and I think for the next 5 points in a row, Thomas shot somebody off the break on the Dorito side. Every single point. Shot either JC or Fuzzy.
That's huge. That's huge.
Oh, I mean, huge. Yeah, I mean, JC was playing that Dorito side flawlessly up until that point.
Yep.
And, when Chris is able to get wide every single point and we're trapping their inside guy in, he had free reign.
Yeah,
So
and
we were just
you shot
bullying the
us a
Dorito
lot
side.
too off the break.
Yeah, I mean,
Like,
Thomas did
yeah.
a great job controlling Fedorov as
Mm-hmm.
well.
Mm-hmm.
So we were able to capitalize with Thomas's gun and, how proactive Chris was playing the Dorito side. And, Darula was doing an amazing job. I mean, he wasn't necessarily shooting Mouse every point, but he was shooting J-Rab consistently.
Mm-hmm.
And, we tried to turn a gun inside, pick Laval up, and Zane, was it Zane or Zach that was there?
It was Zach.
Zach. We tried to flip a gun inside to stop him from coming up the center. And, after, we went down that deficit, it just seemed like when we won that first point, it just seemed like we were kind of in control from there.
Mm-hmm.
Never really had to adjust. I think we ran the same play like 6 points in a row after that. And we're just kind of like audibling where we were sending Chris and Zupo on the break and just
Mm-hmm.
kind of playing our game. And it was working. It wasn't, I mean, I could sit here and bullshit you and say we had these amazing game plans, but, I think we just played better as a team. We, did our assignments better at that particular time. And, it just went in our favor.
I couldn't agree more. I would love for you to tell, myself and the listeners more about what you're talking about, because this is a really big point that you're hitting on, is the audible, the read. Are you guys doing that from within the players on the field, or is it solely from the coach? How are you guys making those decisions? Because teams across the world want to know how to do that, and you guys did it spectacularly,
So it's all like we set our audibles, right? So mostly on this field, it was snake side audibles. So, I mean, we had, several different audibles. If, obviously if we lost our Y guy, we had to do X, Y, and Z. But
Of
like
course.
big one for us, if Zupa got into 50 snake, we knew we had to be in the snake one behind him, controlling the wire,
Mm-hmm.
and then either in that tower or the brick, stopping Mouse from crawling around the snake one or the snake two. That way Zupa knew he could be there and play freely, hopefully pick a guy up behind him and just really play,
There you go.
offensive paintball instead of worrying about, just getting ran down right away by Mouse, who, is the player that will capitalize on the least bit of timing on our behalf.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, it was just simple things. I mean, we say they're simple, right? Because
Yeah.
it's something we're used to doing.
Yeah.
But, it's just position A, position B to protect position A.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
So,
Yeah, it's a fundamental skill that you have to have as a pro player. Being able to read the situations and then mend holes and switch things around and figure out point blank, we got to get this shit done out here. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
How are we going to do that? And you kind of have to, from top to bottom, be working together on that mission and sharing a lot of information together in order to get those kinds of results, obviously.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and it's like throughout the tournament, like we were playing the snake side well, I felt, but I had our old coach of ours kept texting. He's like, dude, you need to get a second or a third body engaged on the snake side immediately. That's why these teams are getting more ground on you and capitalizing. And
Mm-hmm.
Sunday morning we did a really good job of, once Zupa or Dan passed the snake one, Darula, myself, Thomas, Dan, whoever, we're getting right into the snake one behind him and kind of playing proactive, with that wedge. Like the same thing we did against you guys. Like how many times did you and I end up, in a snap shooting battle down the wire,
Yep.
come to
Yep.
quarterfinals?
Yeah.
We were just trying to flood that side. I mean, we really didn't care what happened on the Dorito side either match. We knew the win was going to come from the snake side. The Dorito side just had to survive the chaos. Thankfully Chris was able to survive and create chaos. So it was like, a bonus for us,
Yeah.
He won a huge one-on-one against Mishka.
Yeah.
Not many people can say they bunkered Mishka in a one-on-one.
That's huge, yeah. And then he actually, the other one that was huge is, I think it was after we won the first point against Impact, he beat Laval in a one-on-one as well.
Mm-hmm.
Which, that took 2 minutes off the clock. And, that could have been a different ball game if he doesn't win that one-on-one.
Yeah. Those are huge momentum shifters as well,
Yeah.
And not so much at the pro level, but like the divisional, especially the one-on-one will just like either make or break a lot of that energy.
Yeah.
But you got to just stay, keep the wings up and keep flying and keep pushing. But yeah, the one-on-ones are huge, man. Absolutely.
Yeah. I mean, until Tyler stepped up and had to put Chris down, Chris was on the way of getting a three-peat. So, I mean, that kid takes a lot of pride in his one-on-ones.
Yeah.
So like his first practice, he came out with us, and I think he ran 5 of our guys in a row. And he was
Sheesh.
just like didn't even say anything, walked away, and I'm like, fuck this guy, you know. So it was funny because like, you know, Steven practices one-on-ones religiously. That's something that he loves to do, and I think Chris beat him
Yeah.
like 3 times in a row.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Well,
everything is a little bit of a one-on-one in paintball, you know, like every
yeah,
engagement's kind of like a little one-on-one. So if you get really
yeah,
good at those, you're going to have some good production out there on the field.
yeah.
yeah, I mean, the rhythm of a gunfight, the confidence in those situations, a lot of big points come down to them. You know, you got to be
Mhm.
good at one-on-ones.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then honestly, dude, Henry, you had some huge points. Like watching the timing of when you stepped up for your team, it was always when like the other team was maybe going to get back in the game, and you're like, nope, we're keeping the door closed. You
Mhm.
know, you made a big move against Heat, come down, bunker Moorhead, turn the field and shoot the 50. You had multiple big points like that. Where does that come from? You know, where do you know, were those moves done in practice? Because, you know, as you said, like, I don't think you played that side too much, and then you just come over there and are bunkering people and pulling out games.
I mean, honestly, like I didn't have the best prelim showing on the Dorito side, so I was kind of already like irritated at myself because like I never claimed to be great, you know, or anything special, but I'm usually consistent. I usually have very good survivability, and I just wasn't surviving well on the Dorito side. So when I got moved over to the Snake side, I won't say I had that I don't really care if I get shot anymore, but it was like I wasn't going to be timid.
Mhm.
So, you know, it's just like I popped the top. I saw Ryan wasn't looking, and I was like, you know, fuck it. If I trade with him, I have 2 guys alive on the other side. So it's more so like, yeah, it's timing, but it's this. I'm 100% confident that Chris and Thomas are going to win a 2-on-1 on that side 100% of the time.
Totally. It's
And
situational awareness.
yeah, and I'm confident enough in my shot to where if I'm running straight at Ryan, worst case scenario we trade, you know,
Yeah.
and then best case scenario I shot him in the back, you know, and it's just being confident, right? Like I practice my running and gunning. I believe in my shot. And
Yep.
that close, I would really hope I don't miss because that'd be really bad. But
Happens though. People do.
yeah, I mean, and like, I mean, I'm sure you guys see it a lot. Like divisional fields, it's like, you know, not capitalizing and playing timid is like the
Yeah.
biggest mistake in players coming up. And I always try to take myself out of that situation. Even in practice, like I'm not scared to get shot running down the field, doing something, just seeing if it'll work,
Yep.
you know. And oh, like Frank is a prime
That's
example
the
of that.
fun stuff. That's the good stuff.
Exactly. Exactly. Like, I mean, Tyler, you practiced us before Philly. You saw how many
Yeah.
times Frank just ran a gun to the 50 Dorito. He's like, what's the
Yeah.
point if I get shot? It's practice. But if I make it, it's awesome.
Mhm.
You know,
That's
it's the
right.
stuff Fedorov does in tournaments,
Yeah.
you know, because he's so confident he's going to shoot the guy shooting at him.
Mhm. And you're playing the odds as well, right? Like you
Mm-hmm.
said, um, you're rolling the dice, kinda. You know, you practice that shot, so you're gonna hit that shot when you're moving and shooting, and you're playing the odds, and you're you know getting the leverage in your corner, you know, by doing those kind of things.
Yeah. All right. So back to the impact game though, because I want to talk about that comeback. Actually, I really want to talk about that. I know you said that you guys didn't really change much. You just started to get control of the match, and that's something that we see happen a lot too. I kind of feel the same way, like with our X Factor game. We didn't really change much or have a lot of diverse things. It's like just what we were doing was working. You know, um, I have the answer for what I think it is. What do you think that comes from? Like, how can a team play with that much control?
Um, I mean, honestly, I think a lot of it comes from it's Sunday, right? So if you don't win, you're going home. So like the fear of losing a match isn't really a thing anymore. It's the fear of going home. So it's like I think everyone just stepped up. You know, we knew we had to believe in each other. You know, we knew what we had to do. We, you know, trusted in the plays. You know, we trusted in the people. And I think it just came together when, you know, we got slapped with reality of a 3-0, you know, and it's just
Mhm,
like, well, it's now or never type thing,
mhm.
you know, because like the one thing we do very well is we play very well as a team, you know, like,
Bingo. Yep.
yeah, I mean, we have aggressive players, but we're not a flashy team by any means. You know, we just we're able to dig situations out and win points. You know, it's like everyone's like, we're not a very dominant team because we don't win with big margins. Like, I'm sorry, but like, I don't give a shit about margin, right? Winning matches is all that matters. And, you know, so many teams are worried about winning big in prelims, and we don't really care about winning a prelims. We're trying to win a tournament. So winning 6-0 looks good on paper, but like, what does that really do for Sunday play?
Absolutely right.
It doesn't always translate. You're right. Yeah, what I was kind of alluding to in that is like, for me, I've felt so many times when you start winning a match, and there's been some events where you just don't change much. The communication and teamwork is so good that there's no need to change anything. And so having players in certain positions where they can continue to communicate and sort out what's going on mid game becomes more important than the flashy splash play of like, okay, let's try to run over there and now run over here, run over there, run over here, right? And I feel like that's part of what you guys had going on.
Yeah. And like, again, like talking before, like, you know, Thomas started doing a really good job of shooting JC and bullying Fuzzy. So because of that, you know, Chris had that communication and knew he had a free side for the next 4 or 5 points. You know, it's just little things. Like, I think we were just playing off of each other, the hype that was in our pits. You know, like Darula came in with a 4-pack one point. Chris won the 1-on-1. So people, like, our pits were like, we were hype. You know, like,
Totally.
obviously we're like tired, but like people are fired up because they're seeing, you know, our boys going off. And it's like, well, now we want to go off. You know, it's like, we want to go get a big point. You know, like the one point I ran through and bunkered Zach, and, you know, they shot the living piss out of me. You know, like, I come in the pits and they're like, fuck that. We're going to go out there and win this match. You know, it's just like little things that just get the team up.
Yeah, it's infectious. Absolutely. And yeah, you want to go to war for your bro, you know, your partner in crime out there, and make sure you get the job done.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess we'll dive into that. Kind of rounds out the Impact game, and then we'll talk about the Heat game that we played against you guys. You guys actually got up, I think, on us a couple points there, and then we brought it back. But I guess I'll let you tell the story.
Yeah,
we were down.
I think we got up early in that match, if I remember, like actually you won the first point.
Yeah.
If I remember correctly, we had a total, like, I think it was like a 4-on-2, honestly, and Moorhead shot 4 guys in the back on just again timing, right?
Yeah.
He knew he was down, he turned the field, and he ended up running the whole field. And
that's right.
Like,
he saved that game. Ryan absolutely
point.
saved that game. Yeah.
You know, and I think that was good for us because, like, you know, our guys came in the pits and we're like, are we really about to let this happen, playing stupid? And I think that kind of just pissed everyone off because, like, Darula knew he made a mistake. You know, Zupa knew and Dan knew they messed up and took eyes off of him, going for, you know, headhunting instead of playing a zone. And then after that, I think everyone was just kind of like bought into just doing their job, doing what they needed to do, not trying to do anything extra.
Yeah.
You know, Darula did an amazing job. I think he shot Chad George 50% of the time trying to go snake deck match. And, you know, and taking Chad out of the equation, that's one of the best snake players to ever play the game. So with him out of there, you know, and then our 3 guys on that side, you know, against you and Ryan, you know, you and Ryan are fantastic players, but, you know, I would take 3-on-2, you know, especially when we're always flooding a third body that way.
Yeah.
You know, again, Chris won off that match. You know, he beat Mishka in a 1-on-1. Thomas won a 2-on-1 against Mishka and Ryan.
So no, it was me and Ryan.
Was it you and Ryan? Okay.
Yeah, and then I got pulled out in that 2-on-1.
Okay.
Yeah, there was a few penalties on Heat side of the field in that match too. There was actually, you know what? The refs actually threw a lot of penalties, but I felt for the most part they were pretty fair. I feel like they were consistent throughout the event, but they were, if you had a hit on you, no matter where it was going to be at least a minor if you were still playing the game.
I think Ryan got like clipped in the loader. Like an obvious hit, but like
still playing.
Still playing, right? You know, it was, you know, bad for you guys, but like little moments like that just, you know, it really like inspires us, right? Because it's like we knew we just got a gift, right? Like how many times on Sunday do you really get a gift against, you know, one of the top teams in the league? Yeah. So it's just like we were just taking advantage of everything we were getting.
Yeah, you guys played really well out there, and Man, Tony, he was probably still puking. That guy is so funny, dude.
Did
So it's
Antony puke?
funny. So
Oh
it's
yeah,
funny. Everyone
yeah.
thinks he pukes. He just dry heaves.
No, I saw
Same
him
thing.
losing liquid.
Oh, did you?
Yeah, I saw him
I've never
losing
seen
liquid.
him like actually lose it.
Yeah, it
So
was against the it was on the Impact game. I'm pretty
yeah.
sure. Yeah.
That's
So it's
Um,
funny. Like before, like it used to just gross me out, and I'd like
yeah.
Thomas, like dude, get out of the pits.
I
And like
love
now,
Thomas, man.
like he only does it like when he's like working, right? Like when
Yeah.
he's like really exerted. So like now when I hear it, I'm like, all right, my boy's going
Yeah,
to work.
yeah.
So it's like it's gross, but it's like I know he's doing what he's doing.
Dude, I've
So
been playing against Thomas Tony, I think for over 20 years, from the New England Hurricanes and Twisted Factory days, like when I was just a
jeez.
young buck before I got on Bob's team. I was playing against Thomas.
It's funny. So the weekend before Philly, we were all in Boston practicing at Derula's house, and we put on "Bring Out Your Dead," and we were
Yeah.
watching that, and I was like, "Oh shit!" I never actually realized Thomas was in this video playing with the Hurricanes.
Yep.
Like I forgot like how long he's actually been around because I only knew him from the 187 days.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really know where he started, and then
Oh
Derula was
man.
telling us, yeah,
Yeah, he played with Aftermath, the Hurricanes. Thomas Tony's
yeah,
legend. He had a lot of big events. Thomas is
Yeah.
a baller.
he's starting he's really starting to play well again. Like
Mhm.
this tournament was really good for him, and I think it's what he wanted. Like he proved himself to the team, and he's definitely earned a spot with us because
Mm-hmm.
like we picked him up last minute for Philly because Dan and Derula couldn't come. They both had kids again. So we needed
Hey,
another guy.
congratulations. That's awesome.
Yeah, our team is just breeding babies at this point. So it's got to
What else
stop
is
at
there to
some
do
point,
out there?
Yeah.
dude. So I mean, it's insane. So I mean, eventually Revo is going to have a kids team.
There we go.
It'd probably be
Nice.
like a 15-person roster. The rate
Oh
these
yeah,
kids are
mobbing
going.
deep. Mobbing
Yeah,
deep.
exactly. There won't be no shortage Sunday morning for these kids.
That's awesome. I love that. And then kind of rounding out the Heat game, we got within a point, and then we had 45 seconds to get another point and tie it up. And I think you guys shot like 3 of
Yeah,
us off the break, dude. It
yeah.
was crazy.
It's funny. Like we all went into panic mode, and then it's like 10 seconds later we see pretty much the whole team besides maybe I guess it was Fedorov on the Doritos side walk off, and I was like, Jesus, 'cause it just never happens. We're never that fortunate. I would say 99% of the time we would be the team that would lose that point and have to go play overtime.
Mm-hmm.
It's just it never happens. I mean, the same thing happened against Level and during the prelim game.
Mm-hmm.
We
Level
just
did that twice. They did it to Impact too. They
okay,
scored a
I know.
17-point second
I
against
know.
Impact to bring it to
Yeah.
overtime.
Yeah. So I was actually hyped to see those kids doing well because
Yeah.
those guys coming up through divisional camp, I used to help them, me and Steven, a lot. They used to come to our home field all the time and practice the other divisional teams. So I've
Awesome.
known all those guys for years. So obviously you don't want to lose to them, but
Of course.
it was great to see them actually go 4-0. I got a lot of respect for Robbie,
Mm-hmm. And
Pando, all those guys.
yeah, it is cool to see LVL doing so well. I know Marsh has been out there quite a few times and has a really close relationship with that park. And they've just been working their butts off, point blank. Like they really want to be great at paintball, and they're doing all the steps that it takes to accomplish that goal. So you beat us, which congratulations on that. And then you played X Factor, and obviously we already kind of dove into that. The fact that you guys had injuries, and then you guys even made changes that you weren't playing the same way even against them in that game. So that's probably what summed up that whole game there, I'm sure.
Yeah. Yeah, that definitely stung, right? Because I think that's our 5th time taking 4th.
Is that
we don't,
yeah.
we don't have anything higher than 4th. So it's like it's cool to get to the final 4, but it's almost just like a slap in the face for us because it's like
Mm-hmm.
at this point in our careers, it's like it's just not satisfying anymore.
Of course, dude. Of course,
It's just I don't know.
It's almost that much more painful because you get so much closer to making it to the finals, to winning the event. It's more painful for sure.
So
yeah, and it's like so many people at our clinic last weekend were like, "Congrats on 4th, man!" And like it was almost like I was being like rude about it. I'm like, thanks, but it's like it was nothing. It's not, it's not winning, right? And that's like all we care about. We just want to win an event. So it's like I don't want to sound like an ass, but it's like force just, it's not what we want. It's not
Of course.
considered a good
But
job for us.
it's the right direction. You guys are in the right
Correct.
direction, and you're not far off there. So what are some steps that Revo can take to make a finals, to make a win, as an organization? What do you think is the next frontier that'll get you guys there?
Honestly, the big thing is getting our full roster to an event. Um, for us, like that's the main thing. Like we know we have the talent. Our coach Pat is doing a great job. I feel like we had pretty good practices. We utilize the best of what we can, and it's on us, it's on the players just getting there. So for World Cup, thank God, knock on wood, we do have the full roster coming. So that's a huge bonus. Pike's actually coming as well. He's coming out of retirement.
There we go.
Nice.
And it's cool on that to see like, a guy like Pike, one of the nicest kids in the world. Like that's a true guy who was always there for the boys. He calls me Sunday after we lose. He's like, dude, I want to play cup. You guys need another body. I know I can help. And this is a guy with like no free time, just got married, big job and all that. He's like, I need to be there for the boys.
Hell yeah.
So like, I hope that alone motivates the guys. Like seeing like this kid just got married, just went on a honeymoon. He's taking like the little bit of vacation he had left to come, be with us for like one last hurrah.
Dude, wouldn't rather be any place in the world other than NXL World Cup, man. It's going to be an amazing event.
Facts.
That's the big one, yeah.
And even your coach and the Paintball Troll, shout out to the Paintball Troll one more time. Your coach was a part of another post here with the Paintball Troll.
We were laughing at that in the chat last night. So.
Dang it, I didn't see it. Which one's this? Yeah. Paintball Troll or Pro?
I think it was Paintball Troll.
They were going ham on the internet, talking trash or whatever, and just having a good time, having some fun.
Yeah, I think it was all the post about Dan when he got put down by Mouse.
And, you zigged when clearly you should have zagged. And it has Joe Rogan sitting under there. Dude, I thought that was so crazy when Rogan like sat down next to Connor like that to get that interview during that fight. I'm like, bro, give this man some space.
I actually wasn't even talking about that post.
Let me see which one this was. I gotta look this up.
No, you're right. Yeah, that is the one. But Paintball Troll is going hard. He's got this one where the Family Guy.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, that's the one.
So he says, and now to make sure that we get overshot. Yeah, that's better. And then it just shows this post of some jib-jab going back and forth between Impact and you guys.
Yeah. I mean, everybody gets so sensitive about, people making comments on the internet. Like,
that's what it's there for.
I mean, people either love or hate the NYX guys. And honestly, I think the shit talk that they do is great for the sport. I love it. I think it's hysterical.
Yep. The only reason that I would say no is just if it gets them out of their own way of success. But I think that they still manage to do pretty well when they're wilding. Actually, probably that's just how it goes. That's New York flair. That's that New York vibe, So they got to be lit and having some fun. That's when they play their best ball.
Yeah, I mean, it was hilarious for me in Philly. You guys had a great match with NYX in Philly.
Oh, yeah. That was crazy.
It was back and forth. And, anybody that knows Harris and those guys, like, when they're quiet is when they're demoralized. Like, there's nothing.
Yeah.
So Harris is, like, walking off the field, and he's, like, chirping all your fans in the grandstands. And I'm just laughing. Like, that's what fuels those guys.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's a major crutch, though, unfortunately.
I agree.
When you're hot, things are great and you can sit there and you can talk your shit and things work. But when you're not, it affects everybody on the team. Cause now like your leader's quiet, if he's having a bad match, now it's visible to everybody around him, And so I've always said, like, I enjoy it too. It is good for the sport in some sense. People will gravitate towards it. They're fans of those guys. And I've been fans of those guys for a long time, but I do feel like it got to a point to where it's like, okay, look, now go out and win an event, go far on Sunday, go deep Sunday, and then get back to that, put some focus and energy elsewhere, because I do think sometimes it kind of hurts the organization. Because again, if you're not feeling that and doing that, your teammates know, and it just kind of becomes, a little more toxic. Whereas like you look at a team like the Russians or a lot of the experienced teams, there aren't really big highs and deep lows. It's not, high or low. It's somewhere in the middle. And you just try to stay even keel and keep moving forward so that you can make clear, concise decisions. But yeah, I mean, that's my 2 cents on it,
Oh, I agree with you
yeah.
100%.
They could
So when you're
channel.
that,
They've
when
been
you're that
channeling it.
emotional,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
But it's a catch-22 for them because they've
Totally.
never won a Sunday game.
Totally. It's is that true? Never a Sunday game?
Never.
In Philly, were you guys? Yeah, you guys were their first Sunday match. That's right.
No,
Damn.
we didn't. Yeah, they played
Heat
them in
was.
Philly. Yep.
Yeah.
But no, they've never won.
Well, they got to
Interesting.
channel that energy and then
You
bring
got to
it
channel
out
it.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because they played great in Philly. They did. They played really well. We played them. They were tough. They played great paintball. So they definitely have what it takes. It is just, can they channel that emotion the right way?
Mhm.
And if they can, maybe that will be dangerous for the league. I don't know, but we haven't quite seen that yet.
I would
Mhm.
love to see that, man. I'm a huge fan. Shout out to New York. Let's go.
Dude, I'm a huge fan too. I love New York.
Yeah.
New York's one of my
Yeah.
favorite places. It's where my dad's from, so I get along with those guys. They're fantastic. But yeah, at some point you got to put the focus on the game.
Yeah. I agree with that.
Absolutely.
So
let's kind of dive into your story, like your paintball story, man. Where did this crazy ass game start for you? How did you get into paintball? Was it a birthday party?
Yeah. So
God damn
not technically a birthday party. Yeah. So it's like family farm. My mom's like, "Hey, we're gonna go play paintball. All your cousins and
There we
out."
go.
And I was like, "Man, this is pretty badass." Like the fact that my
Yeah.
mom was running around in the woods. And it just kind of went from like, a birthday party once a year to, then working at Route 40 Paintball, which is owned by the Malacheskis, Tommy, Julian, the Image guys. So started there and then decided like I wanted to play a little bit more and more. Got on my first team and then, Tommy and Julian were helping with our team at the time and just kind of like, teaching us, not to be like soft. Like Tommy was the type of dude that was standing behind us with a tipman, and if we weren't snap shooting correctly, he was shooting us in the back when we were drilling. Like
That's
it's
what's
like,
up.
I mean, yeah, like kids now, it's a different world, man. Like you guys grew up in that, the cutthroat. But yeah, I mean, just like so from like going to Route 40, I started meeting a bunch of people. Started playing like some 5-man hyperball tournaments here and there.
What year was that?
What year is that? Yeah, exactly.
Man, 2004 maybe.
Awesome.
Yes, or maybe even 2005. I think I was there for just playing like little local tournaments until 2008. Found another field. Team was having tryouts, which was Revolution at the time. Had no idea who any of the kids were. Went up there for a tryout. Met Stephen Omar for the first time. Was actually on the team. Like funny story, like literally the first breakout we did, we line up on the side together and he stood up tall right in front of me and I shot him like 6 times in the back of the head and knocked him out.
Oh.
First day trying out cold, like 15-year-old Steven, long hair, like out cold, no idea what's going on. That was like 2008. Started playing with those guys. I think we won like 6 local tournaments that year. We were just crushing it. That was when Mike Baker was on the team, LJ Hartman, like all the original guys.
Yeah.
So that was 2008. Then 2009, our owner was like, "Look, I don't want you guys to go national. We're going to play another 5-man series." Did well again, won another series, 4 or 5 tournaments. He was like, "Look, I want you guys to go to World Cup and play D4 5-man." Because we actually won a free trip there through winning a series title.
Nice.
And I think we got second place. And it was like, when we got second, we kind of knew we had something special. Like D4, 5-man, whatever it is. Like if you go top 4 in a tournament, like obviously you're doing something right, regardless of the division.
How pivotal was that success, in those seasons, those couple early seasons for your development and your belief and the team's belief,
Honestly, like it was like thriving me because like at that point, like paintball was like just a hobby, right? So I went from playing like every other weekend to like winning my first tournament, and I'm like, man, like this is pretty dope, like then it went from like buying guns, buying new gear,
Oh
like
yeah.
wanting to like really like do this, like I
Yeah.
never thought I was going to buy $1,000 paintball gun when I was
Yeah.
15 years old. Then, it happened 2 years later. But it was just like, it really thrived me like in anything else. Like you want to work hard, you want to get better and better. Like people ask all the time, like, did you think you would be where you are today? I'm like, no, like I picked it up. I had fun with it. I just
Yeah.
wanted to see what I could do. Cause at the time I was playing baseball, like competitively. And it's just like, I was playing paintball when I had time,
Mm-hmm.
And then got on Revolution, and it was like, these guys wanted to practice every Saturday and Sunday. Like I didn't even have a driver's license then. So I was like getting rides, to the field an hour away. And it was kind of like, my parents were like, look, if, we're devoting this much time into getting you up here, you need to take it serious. And I'm like, yeah, of course, and then it just started like really grinding, playing all these tournaments, winning all these tournaments. Like there was 2 years of divisional as Revolution to where we played like 15 tournaments, and I think we won like 11 or 12 of the 15 in 2 years.
Wow.
Damn.
Yeah, like, and that's when like we were making money playing divisional. We were winning like 6 Luxes every tournament we played.
There we go.
Yeah, so it's like, we were paying, like our paintball was free when we were playing D4. So like that's a big thing.
Yeah.
Like we're crushing all these tournaments, and I give a lot of success to our owner Rick Hartman.
You guys were winning 6 Luxes in D4?
Yeah, that's so the local tournaments out here were like, dude, the payouts were big. So like GPL,
like
yeah, and
it's huge.
we were just raking in the cash, just able to play more and more paintball. So like we go to Cup, we took second, and we're all hyped. We're like, yeah, we're gonna go to D3 next year, which would have been 2010. And our owner, the owner of the field at the time, was like, hey, I'm not letting you guys go national. And we're like, oh, what the hell, man? We're cruising. We want to do this. He's like, no, he said it'll ruin you guys. So he made us play a whole another year of local tournaments. So that season, like our local series, like teams just stopped signing up because we were winning so much. So we took a whole entire year, and we were playing like, I don't know if you guys remember, like Assault was like a semi-pro team when 187 was coming up, the Monstars. So we were playing those guys every single weekend. Our owner didn't let us play any events, and just drilled that whole year. It's 2010. We went into throughout the season, and our owner's like, look, I want you guys to play Cup. We're going to play D3 Expo, see what you got. Go to Cup. We ran the prelims, went 4-0. I think we got to the quarterfinals and lost to the Vipers in overtime, Palm Beach, and, a team that I grew up watching on YouTube. So like just playing that name was kind of cool for me.
Mm-hmm.
So we get knocked out. I think our other 2 home teams, Assault took second or something. So going in after that, our owner sits us all down. He's like, look, I'm proud of you guys. I'm ready for you to play the national circuit. And this is 2011. So like, Galveston, we start grinding for Galveston, go to Galveston. To sum it up, I think we lost 5 points the entire tournament in D3X.
There we go.
I don't think we lost, I think 1 point on Sunday. We were just beating the brakes off of kids.
Mm-hmm.
Went on that year. I think we won 2 or 3 of the 4 events, won the series title, went to D2, 2012. Same circumstance all over again. We're just, beating the brakes off the teams in divisional. We ended up picking a couple new guys up. Kenny Frank, I'm sure you guys know, Stacy Smith, Alex Young, all the Arsenal guys that merged in with us. And we were just going on a run. Won the series title again in D2, won World Cup again. Got the invite, went and played semi-pro.
So before you go to semi-pro, you've got to understand how many divisional players are listening to this right now and want to know how in the hell can we do that. So can you please shed some insight into how you guys did that? Because that's impressive, man. That's really impressive stuff. And there's, like I said, there's hundreds and hundreds of people listening right now that want to know how they can do that.
I mean, for us, it was just pure gun skills. Like our owner was an old school player, And, he was fundamentals of, I don't want you guys to be a fast team. I want you to be a dominant team. So we were snap shooting, we were shooting off the break, we were doing laning drills every weekend. And like for us at that time, it was like a different era, right? Like the paintball community was really like everybody like was clicked in, everybody communicated with everyone. So like as a D3, D2 team, all we played were semi-pro teams. We never played teams our own caliber. So we are very fortunate, and I give a lot of credit to like Assault and Monstars, all those guys, were just beating us down every single weekend. Like I'm not even kidding.
You gotta have that. Yeah.
There was probably a span of 2 months to where we went to practice every single weekend and didn't win a point for 2 months. We're just getting, just shit on. And it's like, you got to learn to lose before you can learn to win, and it's sad to see it now because like I'll go play a random weekend at a field and like nobody will come on the box to play against like me and Steven and a couple other random players. Like everybody just wants to win in practice. There's like no point
way.
though.
No way.
Yeah. Yeah. It's just,
yeah.
So like, we just grind it. We drilled, Rick actually, our owner hired Sam Monville to come out with us a couple weekends, and
Shout out to Sam.
Dude, Sam's the man. So he came out, several weekends in our D2 days and just like really worked us, had us running suicides and crawling all through the field.
Yep.
And, just really just, showing us what it takes for someone, who's in the league, who's a great player in the league, and just kind of, because like anybody that knows Sam knows he's very gun dominant.
He's a G.
So,
he is a G with the gun. Yeah.
So like he taught us a lot of tips and tricks like that, and we just put in the work. It's like anything else. You can be shown a million ways, but unless you physically want to do it, you're not going to achieve it. And like at that time, me and Steven were going to the field on a Wednesday night, a Friday night, every Saturday, Sunday, playing as much as we could. Rain, like snow, like we were going out with shovels and shoveling the snow off the field to go play paintball. Like that's all we cared about, It'd be like Tuesday on a week, and I'm like cleaning my gun, just praying the weekend was coming sooner. So, and then
that's the love of the game right there. That's the heart and the passion for it. Yeah.
So it's crazy to like look back and like see how much like it really meant to me, like as a kid, like how much I really enjoyed it, and then to kind of see like we're actually playing pro now is kind of like surreal because like again like coming up through the divisional, like I was watching you guys on YouTube, like watching all like the Dynasty videos, Excessive and Aftermath, all the Dirter videos. And now like I'm on a podcast with you. So it's like, it's kind of cool in that circumstance, right?
It's full circle, baby.
Yeah. We say the same thing with a lot of the guests we have on too. It's like we grew up watching the OGs and we're like, dude, we're sitting on a show with you now. We have stories to talk about with you. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy, man.
Again, like the field I started out with the Malacheskis, like I never really like Tommy was always like a role model for me, right? But I really never understood how big he was in the sport, like the Malacheskis as an image, until I started playing on a national circuit. And like, dude, do you really know who that is? And I'm like, honestly, he's just a guy. It's like I've been around since I was like 13 years old.
Yeah, so it's my friend. What do you mean?
Yeah, it's like but
the OG.
Yeah, so. I guess that puts us into semi-pro. I think, if I remember correctly, I think we got like 5th or 6th the first event. Like a decent showing, but like we learned really quickly like gun skills weren't going to win it anymore. Like we got outplayed by teams who were better than us all around. Kind of like re-hit the how we were doing things. Went back. Kind of like, again, started going more into like play style on gun skills, right? So it's like at that point is when we started learning about audibles and, when we're doing this is why we're going to do this. And I think we went into our second event in semi-pro and we beat VCK in Chicago, I think. That's when like Fuzzy and TJ and all them were on the team.
Yeah.
Beat them, go into I guess it was Riverside would have been the third event then, and played VCK again in the finals. They put it on us, so then, we're one event. I think we're sitting first place in the series. So if we do top 4 of the next event, we're going to we win a pro spot. So we go in the cup. Our owner decided he wanted to add a couple people, and like we were all kind of like against it at the time. Like, why would we change what's working? You know, we just took first and second and fifth.
Yeah.
And you know, we went in the cup, and it was kind of a shit show. Right? We had new kids coming on trying to run the pits that have never been in our pits, and I think we got knocked out by, I want to say it was Trade My Gun, and when Cody Mikowski was playing with them. So that would have been like 2012, 13 maybe, 13.
Mm-hmm.
Got beat out by them like early on Sunday morning. Got sent home, missed a pro spot. So like that was pretty like demoralizing for us because like we thought that was our only chance. You know, we practiced super hard over the winter. You got rid of the people that were brought onto the team. Basically told the owner like, look, we don't care if you pay for it or not, but we want to run it with our team. Like, this is what we have. It could be something special. Went into the first event the following year, took second. I believe the second event was MAO. We took second again. And then that's when VCK's field actually burned down, or not, Texas Storm's field actually burned down. So we got a phone call from Lane Wright or Tom Cole, whoever it was at the time, inviting us to the Challengers division.
Yeah.
So that would have been probably 14, I think, 2014.
Mm-hmm.
Sounds about right.
Yeah. So that was like champs and challengers. Yeah. And that's like, I mean, I thought champs and challengers was a great thing.
Yeah, me too.
Because like 100%. A lot of teams in our division now, like you got the bottom 5 teams who don't really win matches, right? And this was like a way for these teams to get better, get a little bit more confident, play one good team, one like top team per event instead of playing 4 good teams, right? Mm-hmm. Like if you look at our bracket last event and you look at like level coming in, they're playing us, they're playing Impact, they're playing Damage. You know, that's like a bracket I wouldn't want to be in. Mm-hmm. You know, it's 3 really tough teams. So we go into champs, challengers. Our first game was against VCK. Lost to them. Beat CEP. I don't remember who we played third. Thunder, actually. It's when Corey and all them were in challengers. Mm-hmm. And then our fourth game, and I'll actually never forget this, was Art Chaos when they came back in the league. So Fedorov and all them. And like that's still to this day like one of the most memorable matches I've ever had. Like our guys, like when I see Kenny and Stacy all the time, they still talk about that match. Like it was like point for point for point for point for point for point. And then we were up like 3 with a minute left. And, you know, Fedorov, Axel, all those guys doing what they do. They scored 3 points in like a minute 10.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, tie it up and beat us in overtime.
No.
Yeah. Oh, dude,
I thought the story was going to go, you guys beat them.
No Cinderella story there, man.
Shit.
We got beat. And, like, their coaches actually at the time came up and, like, you know, you guys could be something really good. You know, you're really impressive how you're playing. And, you know, like, that's meaningful. And, like, these are, like, guys, like, hey, I never thought I'd play against, let alone get a compliment from.
Mm-hmm.
So Chicago, you know, we went 2-2 our first event in Champs and Challengers, but it's like, yeah, we didn't make it on, but like that was still big for us. You know, it was better than we expected. You know, like coming into the league, you know, we didn't expect to come in and win. I mean, being realistic about it, but it's like 2-2 was like a check mark on your journey for us. So the next event, Riverside, we go into still in the Challengers division. And honestly, like we just went on a run. This was like a layout that was perfect for us, like a slow pocket controlled field. Like I don't know if you guys remember the layout, but it was like
totally remember that. Yeah, Dynasty won that one.
Yeah, yep. So you go 5 bunkers, and then it was like 15 pods apiece.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You know, and I think we went 4-0 through the prelims. We beat X Factor, and then you know, like a lot of people remember the match because it was. I want to say it was Aftershock and Infamous were also both in the Challengers division. So like we knew we were going to play one of those guys first round. The team that won or the team that lost would play X Factor. So like there was a lot of like finagled stuff going on, and like apparently both teams were trying to throw the match to play us over playing X Factor. And it's like, in the scheme of things, like, does it sound real? Like, no. It's kind of far fetched. And then we started seeing some of the things that were happening. I'm like, oh my god, they're actually trying to throw this game.
Real quick, the team, I think you meant to say the team that lost was going to play you guys.
Correct. I'm sorry.
Okay. Yeah. Gotcha. Just for the listeners.
So like
Not
they
X
were
Factor.
trying. Yeah, not X Factor. X Factor was in our bracket. So they took the 2 seed. They would play the top seed coming out of that bracket. We would play the bottom seed. So like we're watching it, and it's kind of like pissing us off because like these games are deliberately getting thrown away, and we're like, man, like, you know, not to be disrespectful to any of those guys, but like, fuck you, like, you know, like you purposely want to play us. I hope karma bites you in the ass. So magically, Infamous lost the Aftershock. Infamous plays us. It was so funny because they came out and they just started slapping us. They were putting like points up like left and right. We started coming back. We ended up tying it up. It was 5-on-5, and our one guy at the time, Mike Baker, who had the big beard, I'm sure a lot of people still remember him. You know, he ran straight through the center of the field and bunkered 4 people and it was like a 13-second point. Just Damien left alive in the back center. He gets shot, and he's walling out, shot like 4 of our guys, but he was shot in the loader and didn't know it. So like as the buzzer goes off, everyone thinks it's just ran out of time, and there's a major flag sitting on the ground, and Damien's like, "Who's that on?" They're like, "It's on you." So like we lose it, you know, because like we just won, you know, that put us up by 1 with no time left on the clock. So like we're jazzed. Infamous gets knocked out. I think X Factor beat Shock pretty convincingly. So now like we went from being in semi-pro to now playing in the finals in the challengers division.
Yeah.
It's like, you know, we're jazzed, we're coming out. You know, first point against X Factor, I think we lost. I think we won the second. It was like back and forth pretty good. And then, you know, sadly, like, you know, I think we got like 4 or 5 penalties in a row. And I think they ended up beating us by like 2 or 3 points.
Yeah.
So second place, again, like,
that's still huge.
We're all smiling.
Huge. Yeah.
You know, because like now we're going to the Champions Division for Cup, which is like a huge honor. You know, so we come in. I don't think we got like shit on, but I definitely think we went 0-4. Had all close games for the most part, I believe. I want to say we played like 187, we played Impact, and we played Damage, and Vicious at the time was still there.
Dude, you got a memory. Holy smokes.
Dude, yeah, like that was my first year, man. Like that's like some of the stuff like you just don't forget, you know?
Of course, absolutely.
So I think at that time it was still like relegation matches. So the bottom 2 teams from each bracket played it out. We ended up drawing heat. You know, like the first time, like at that point, you know, 2 events before that, Sam was still coaching us. You know, and then we went on to actually relegate heat at that event.
Damn.
So like that was huge for us. Like, yeah, we lost the event, but we stayed in the division. You know, we got relegated. And then it's funny because like we relegated heat, then they got rid of the relegation thing. So I was like, all right, so that was sweet.
You know, a lot of good teams got relegated. The Russians, Art Chaos, Infamous, Dynasty got relegated. Heat got relegated.
You played. Who did you guys play for the Cup finals? Was it Infamous?
Yeah, I was. Yeah, Infamous. I wasn't on Dynasty then. I was on the Ironman.
I
never
crazy.
got relegated. Okay. Just throwing that out there.
Oh shit! But I remember like Oliver and Ryan were on Dynasty then.
Yeah. I mean, dude, that final match.
Because it came down to one-on-ones.
It came down, but that was like one of the best finals matches in all of World Cup history, and it was in the Challengers division. But like, nobody cared about the Champions division that event. They wanted to watch that Dynasty Infamous match.
Oh shit! So you were gritty. On the Ironman then. Was Shane still coaching the Ironman? Is that when he came back?
In 2014, Shane was playing on the Ironman.
Oh shit!
We were playing.
Okay.
Yeah, the legend was playing.
Jesus.
2013. No, yeah. So in 2013, Mike Hinman was coaching us. 2014, we merged with Royalty. Shane came over with a bunch of the young kids that he had been grooming. And I mean, I can't lie. Shane was still able to ball. Like there were things that he could do on the field as far as timing and things of that nature where he was not a liability out there. Even though he was old, he was not a liability. He was out there handling business.
Hell so yeah, he was.
It's funny you bring up Royalty. So our semifinals match, our first year in D3 X Ball, we played Royalty in the semifinals. So it was like Shane, A-Rod, was it the Vidolich brothers? Was that their name?
Yes. Yep. The Vidolich brothers. You had CC. A-Rod wasn't on that team.
A-Rod was on the team. Royalty, 2011.
What? Was he?
Yeah, guaranteed. That's the first time I met A-Rod.
Okay. Wow.
And, I met Shane, and then it was awesome for me because that was my first time meeting Shane, and we've been boys ever since.
Shane's one of the greatest dudes of all time, man.
He's been trying to get me out to California tuna fishing for the last 2 years.
Dude. What are you doing? What are you waiting for?
Yeah, exactly. Go.
It's just real life, man. Yeah. So
don't let real life pass you by. Trying to, pursue real life.
Shane is one of the greatest people you'll ever meet in your whole life. One of the best paintball players to ever play this game, and just a tremendous spirit, out here on planet Earth. He's just one of the best dudes ever, hands down.
Yeah, Shane's the man.
I can honestly count on one hand the amount of people that I admire more than that guy, and just the way he has approached the game and his relationships in the game. Shane is a legend.
Absolutely,
he's just a great dude to be around.
Mm-hmm.
So that's somebody I would love to see come back and start coaching again.
Yeah, it'd be amazing.
Yeah. So
the game needs Shane more. We need more Shane Peston in paintball.
Yeah,
bring him back.
100%. And it's a shame because a lot of the kids coming up probably don't know who he is.
Yeah. We have him on. He's been on PTG, so we got all of his good info databased. If you want to check out Shane's story, we got him on one of the episodes. Can't remember which one it was.
Me neither. It was right before Christmas.
Yeah. Yep.
If any of these kids doubt how good these dudes are, all they got to do is come out to an ICPL and get got by these old guys in the woods. So, it's not only you come out and they shoot you and then they talk shit. It's so funny for me to watch this.
Totally.
Yeah. It's been cool to see all that stuff coming back,
Yeah. So, but so that put us 2014 going into 2015. Now we're in the league. And I think we just got pooped on the whole 2015 season. Maybe went 1-3. Same
but
thing
that's
with
what you need. I just want to stop you right there. That is for everybody out there, you cannot get good unless you lose a lot. You've got to be losing. That's the only way you're testing yourself. That's the only way you're pushing the boundaries. You need to be losing. And then if you're patient and you care about the process enough and you apply yourself and you take notes and do all the right things, then you can make stuff happen. But you got to lose. That's how it is.
It was tough, man, because that was 2015 and 2016. That was 2 really, really hard years of, I'm a competitive person, man. I try to compete, in everything that I do. And, us not playing past the prelims for 2 years is, that's a hard thing to deal with, and at that point, that was at a point in my time I was actually considering leaving the team. It was 2 years of just getting beat down. Shane had actually talked to me about coming out to California and trying out for the Ironman in 2015. And I was going to do it. And then talk to the guys on the team, and it's surreal because how good of a group of guys we had. They were all look, man, you have an opportunity to do something great. We really want you to do this. And everyone was so positive and wanting me to be better and do better. And then it kind of bit me the opposite way, right? Seeing all my friends wanting me to do better and be better, I was why would I go do this with somebody I don't know? Why don't I just do this with my boys? And that was a surreal experience for me. I was these dudes are really here for me. So it's I can't leave them, in a time of, toughness. We need to, put in the work and do what we got to do.
I love that, dude.
Yeah, dude, it was a come to Jesus, thing, and it's I almost did it. And if I would have, thinking now, what would have happened? Would I got cut? Then they not have let me back? You just don't know. And it's I don't know. It's kind of weird to think about it.
Yeah. I know.
Yeah, you never know what that path would have led to. Could have led to a ton of great things, could have been a ton of bad things could have worked out, it couldn't have. You never know. You know, and then here you are with Revo, and honestly, you guys are close. You're not that far off, you know, and so it's a bummer. It's kind of like AC Dallas, right? They kept getting
right
so
there.
close right there, and then that does wear on a team. That makes it really difficult. You know, I actually, you know, I did a show with Maddie on Go Sports right before the last event, and we did talk about you guys. And one thing that I had mentioned was the Kraken belief. Maybe I said I'm not sure why, but you know, they're having trouble keeping the same guys at all the events. They have a lot of stuff going on. It's really tough to do that and then consistently be so close but not break through. You know,
100%.
that starts to wear on a team. It starts to wear on players, and like that's how the really good players from certain teams get picked up from, you know, some of these other top teams, and you see teams kind of crumble. It's exactly what happened to AC Dallas, right? Like they were all there. If they would have stayed together, they would have eventually won that event together for sure. It's just a matter of time.
Yeah, they were getting so good.
Yeah, so good, so close, dynamic, everything, but it was just a little too much, you know, and one piece folded and the rest kind of crumbles, right? So I hope that doesn't happen with you guys, you know, truly.
No. So like, it's funny. It's like there was a rumor going around that we're not playing next year, and I had, you know, Big Lows from Weapons call me, Maddie texted me, and I'm like, where are you guys getting your information from? Just call me.
Just call me.
If we're not playing, it's news to me. But like it's funny because like I literally had sponsors like call me like, hey, like you're asking for stuff for Cup and you're done next year, and I'm like, what are you talking about? So,
wow, that's strange, huh?
Yeah, it's bad, and it's like no, like we're still playing. You know, like the joke on our team is like we're playing until we win an event, and then we're retiring.
Riding off into the sunset.
Yeah, like I can like guarantee you, like if we would have won, you say the last event, like Derulo would have retired on the stage. You know, I would have had to go with my boy. I'm not going to let him win by himself.
Jesus.
Well, then shit, y'all ain't winning anytime soon. We got to have you around.
The league's about to show out against you guys.
Yeah. Like my divisional guys get pissed when they hear it because they're like, dude, like you got to stick around 4 more years so we have a chance. And I'm like, dude, you can just have the team at that point. Like, you know.
No, in all reality, dude, we're so proud. We're proud of paintball. Marcelo and myself, we love this game, and we love your story. We love the team story, and we can't wait to see you guys play for hopefully many, many years to come. You know, wins or not, we want to see you guys around and having fun playing this crazy game.
Yeah, like I love it, man. Like I love, you know, it's not more so much, you know, the drive of all the practices. Like I don't get the excitement out of that anymore. It's like I love being in the event, you know, and just that look in people's eyes before the event starts, and like you could just see the fire. You know, like you look at something like Thomas's eyes, there's just so much like passion there. You know, like Derulo, like all these guys who have office jobs, you know, sit behind a keyboard all day and they can come out and get that fired up. You know, like that's what really like motivates me.
Absolutely.
And it's just a good feeling. You know, like I love the guys we're playing with. You know, like all of our guys, we're in a group chat. We talk on the phone every day. Like, you know, like I drove 12 hours to a practice to play with the guys from Boston a couple weeks ago, just because I wanted to see the boys. Haven't seen them in forever. You know, drove up, practiced, and drove home the same day. You know, and it was awful. But,
that's 24. If I did my math correct, that's 24 hours of driving.
We won't talk about New York traffic and, you know, me motherfucking everybody the whole way there for them convincing me to come.
New York traffic is crazy, dude. It just awful. Blows my mind. It blows my mind. Yeah, it's because if there's any issue on the freeway, there's like no shoulder. There's nowhere to pull over, so it backs up that whole lane gets roasted.
Yeah.
And there's not like super wide freeways.
Because like I'm texting Derulo on the way up, and I'm like, dude, I'm turning around and going home. He's like, dude, if you turn around, we don't have 5. And I'm like, God damn it, now you put this shit on me. So
welcome to New York.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, that. Awful.
I got a lot of love for Derulo. That dude is awesome. I got to know him a little bit better when he came out to coach at the BKI summer camp, and he's just really good dude and a phenomenal player. Absolutely. Yeah. And Zupa, I mean, dude, I went out. I was a kid. And I got to tag along with Nicky Cuba when I was playing with the Ironmen in like 2007. And we did a clinic out in Tennessee for the CEP camp. And Zupa was like 10 years old or something, 11 years old there. And I remember I was like, dude, this kid going to be really good. He just,
Mm-hmm.
he was like naturally good,
Yeah.
and here he is, dude, still balling, still playing. And he has become quite the player himself.
Zupa's good.
Yeah.
Zupa's really good. I mean, it's not only like he's just got such a good and level head. He never
Mhm.
gets mad. He never yells. Like he's just so mellow all the time, and it's the same with Chris, and it's funny, like you talk about the clinics, like I'll pull this photo up. So I know Tyler saw it at the last practice, but
Yeah.
apparently like Chris went out to a Fedorov clinic back in the day.
Oh,
Yep.
And
that's awesome.
yeah, then he got like the
Yeah.
updated photo like 20 years later.
For the
That's
So
YouTube.
dope, dude.
Yeah.
yeah. So like Chris was jazzed. Like it's just funny, like, like he's still a fan of Fedorov. Like we all should
Of
be. That
course.
dude is
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. He is.
Um
It's a dream come true to get to run alongside that monster.
yeah.
He gets me fired the hell up to play some
Dude, he's
paintball.
so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's just it's impressive, like
it
just
is.
dodges paintball. It's like watching the Matrix with a paintball gun.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. Hey,
but
when did the inception of Revo begin?
oh man, so the rumor was 2005, and it was started as OA Revolution. They
Uh-huh.
played at a different field in Bowie, Maryland.
Okay.
Um, like I said, I got on the team around 2008. So did Steven.
Yeah.
Um, Mike Baker, LJ. We were like the four like original guys that stayed with it all the way through.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm pretty sure it was like that 2005 era, maybe.
Okay. Awesome.
Like I said, it was just a random tryout for me. And,
Yeah.
just met these guys, and I was like, they seemed like cool dudes at that
Dude,
time.
best decision ever right there.
Yeah, no shit. Yeah, went from trying out for a team in 2008, and like now I'm like part owner of it. So it's
Yeah.
just like it's
Cool.
funny to look back on that. Like
Yeah.
random kids I met at the field. Most of these dudes are still my best friends today. Still talk
That
to
is
all these
so
guys.
cool. That's such an amazing
So
story. Do you guys have any plans to do what Infamous does or what Dynasty does and have, you guys' own merch and start really pushing that kind of stuff as well?
so we have like we don't do it to like the level like Dynasty and Infamous doesn't. Like Infamous and Dynasty have killed the market. Like it's
Well, Dynasty
insane.
doesn't have any merch. It's kind of done through sponsors.
With
I saw.
They make our
Well, I mean,
merch.
I'm sorry. I
Yeah.
consider Dynasty and Field One being the same thing,
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay.
right? Like, is that like wrong of me
It,
too?
it is technically. I mean, I guess technically it is, but I understand why you would think that. It's some of the same owners, but they do try to keep that completely separate.
Okay.
Dynasty and Field One, two separate
Okay.
businesses.
So
But
like
it's
yeah,
Ryan, Alex, Yosh.
yeah.
It's like
I mean, it's
okay,
all the
kind
same
of
guys.
Dynasty.
Yeah. Yeah. So
For
like,
sure.
I mean, we have a website. We sell a bunch of jerseys, T-shirts, and stuff like that. Like the big thing that we promote our team with is like we do a lot of clinics.
Yeah.
Cool.
So
Like
what's the website so we can get you some traction as well once you drop that while you're on here?
it's Baltimore187crew.com.
Awesome.
That was something else I
So
wanted to ask too. Well, when you're done with this, how the
yeah.
whole merger with 187 came to be.
Mhm.
I mean, let me think. So the first step was, oh, dude, this, this is so funny. So like again, like, I hear a rumor that 187's breaking up. Like at the time, like we stink. Like we're going 0-4 every tournament. So like the only person on the team I had number was Pike, just because like I think I had to pick him up from the airport when they came to Baltimore to practice. So I text him like, "Yo, sorry to hear about your team breaking up. You want a team?" He's like, "What are you talking about?" And I'm like, "Oh, sorry to hear it, dude. Like, do you want a team?" And he's like pissed drunk. And he's like, "Well, give me 5 minutes and I'll call you back." Long story short, I guess I broke the news to him first.
Oh
So
shit.
he calls me back. He's like, "Dude, the team's breaking up. What am I gonna do?" I'm like, "Well, you should play with us." And he's like drunk at the time, right? And like Pike's the type of guy, no matter what, he gives you his word, he's playing. He's like, "Well, how's your sponsorship?" I'm like, "Well, it's super sweet, dude. We pay for everything out of pocket because we suck." And he's like, "All right, man, we'll make it work." He signed on. Like a week later, he called me back. He's like, "Hey, what were our terms again?" And I'm like, "You're paying for everything. I'm sorry, dude. Like sponsorship sucks this year, blah blah blah." So we get him on the team. Another 0-4 event. Pike comes to our first practice, and our owner's like, good thing Pike's a really nice guy because the kid stinks. He had just like a really bad day of practice, and then get to the tournament. Pike can actually ball, played really
Mhm.
well. He's like, hey, what do you think about maybe getting Thomas Mantoni? I'm like, all right, let's try it. I had no idea who this guy was at the time. Comes out, and this dude is just a wildcat. Like,
Firecracker.
Crazy on and off the field. Like, it's nothing like we've ever experienced, but Thomas comes on and we make our first Sunday since, the champs and challengers days. And I'm like, all right, well, maybe this is going to work out. So, next event, I think we went 2-2, didn't make it. That would have been Atlantic City. I guess that was probably 2016. So, then we're going into World Cup and Pike calls me like, hey, like, my buddy Dan wants to play. And I'm like, Zaleski? He's like, yeah. And he's like, he's supposed to be playing for Uprising. So I'm like, all right, let's see where we go. And Dave Painter calls me. He's like, hey, like, I think I want Eddie to leave AC and come to you guys. He's like, I think it'd be a better fit. So then Eddie calls me, we start talking. I'm like, dude, let's go. So Eddie comes over. We have Eddie coming in the cup. And then Dave calls me back. He's like, hey, I know I'm new to the team, but I'm not allowing Dan to play for another team at Cup. He's playing with us. And I'm like, all right, let's do it. So then we get, in a matter of a season getting Pike, then we got Thomas, Eddie, and Dan. So we had 4 new guys on the team this year. Dan's like, I'm just going to play World Cup and I'm done. And, like, yeah, we know how that goes. Like, nobody comes back, plays one event, and walks away. Play World Cup. We went 2-2, but like we beat the Russians. We lost to AC Dallas at the time by 1. I forgot. We might have played Heat too. It was like, that was back when it was like the brackets were much tougher. It was only 4 teams went on, I believe, at that time.
Yeah.
So that season, like, Dave came on, who somebody was helping, with running the team, just being like a good like role model for the guys, and just coordinating everything. So we had Pike, Dave, Eddie, Thomas, Dan. Max was on Infamous at the time. So all season, Dan's like, hey, I'm going to call Max. We'll see what we can do. Max is like, yeah, I want to play with the boys. So coming into 17, Max comes back. Weirdest kid I've ever met in my life. Still the weirdest person I've ever met in my life, by far. Like, there was nothing remotely sane about Max. Great individual, great human being. The weirdest person you'll ever meet. So we go into that season, and that's like when we started really like.
You got to give us something. Why? Why is he so weird? You got to give us something. You can't just drop that on us.
I mean, like, he refers to himself as Lord. Everything is third person, like the
Lord
Max.
Max.
Lord Max, D Max, like
it's like your son. He's 2.
Yeah, like
Lord Max.
Yeah, like I think Laval said it best. Like, we're all just pawns in Max's world. He just chooses to let us live there, and it's just like, it's just crazy. The things like, like, he got mad at one of the events, because Pike took the master bedroom. Where Max had a wife and a kid coming to the event, and Pike's in this master bedroom by himself. So Pike's passed out in the room, goes to bed early, wakes up early. I walk by and I hear like grunting, and Max is like got his pants down trying to shit in Pike's dresser drawer.
No.
Dude,
oh my god.
Honest. Just
no.
Out of spite, like egging the room, like just really mad. It's just like some of the stuff's like not best to be said on the internet. Like, I'll tell you guys like in person and show you some really funny
that's
things.
Good. You hit it on the head here. You got it.
You painted the picture.
Yeah, literally.
You check that box.
Yeah, it's like Max is just like something else. He's just like, as the kids say, built different.
Yeah.
Dude,
bless him. That's so funny, man. So that's kind of how that whole merger came together, and
I mean, Pike says it all the time. I never give credit for it, but like, he was like, the staple that set the merger. It was because of Pike. He's what brought all of us together. And it's like all those guys came on, and it's like we were all cool, but like I never thought we would be like tight to where like 2 years in, Dan's like, hey, I want you guys at my wedding. Like, we're just becoming like boys, like hanging out, playing golf on non-paintball weekends, like making initiative to hang out with each other. So that was 17. We went on a run that year. I think we took fourth twice.
Yep.
With when Max merged on in 17.
I'd be even willing to say that the reason that you guys started doing well is because you really became friends, and
100%.
that has a huge impact on the on-field play, the chemistry and the care, the care that goes into really devoting yourself to the craft.
100%. Like if you like the people you're playing with, you can trust them, right? If you can trust a guy in real life, he's going to have your back. Like just bringing that into paintball is second nature.
That's right.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So 17, we went on the run. In 18 or 17, Derulo was playing with damage. Like we knew he just had a kid, so the travel was probably getting tough.
This is Jason Derulo, right? The singer?
Jason Derulo, yeah. So,
Jason Derulo. He has never heard that before.
Oh my God, he hears it all the time. So Dave reached out to Derulo. He committed and then pretty much found out that like Impact was going after Steven and offered him a decent amount of money to leave. So he's basically like, look, this is when Steven was like destroying the league. It was just like where he really made his name were those 2 years. He's like, look, I'll stay if Steven stays. And then I guess Steven kind of was like, you know what, I'll ask for a ridiculous amount of money. If they say no, I'm with my boys and we get Derulo. If they say yes, I'm making a bunch of money playing paintball. So they ultimately were like, yeah, you're crazy, kid. You can't ask for that much money. He's like, I bet I'm going back to the boys to get Derulo. And then it was like, just on a run, like when we got Derulo on, and I can confidently say, and I mean this when I say this, Derulo is probably the best person I've ever played paintball with. He is just such a good dynamic player, and he just always finds a way to make something happen. Like yourself, Tyler, Greenspan, like you guys always seem to, make magic out of thin air, and it's like the same with him. Like, his first year on the team, it's like I think we're in the quarterfinals with Thunder, and it's like a 2-on-1. I'm like, all right, it sucks, but we probably just lost. And, he wins a 2-on-1 to put us into the Final Four.
Awesome.
It's just like the guy's just clutch, Steven's the same way. Now we went from like 1 or 2 guys being able to do things like that to now having 4 or 5 guys on the team. That just seems like they can always make something happen. That's a sick mug.
Yep.
Yeah,
the
that's
PTG
dope.
mug.
Yeah.
Shout out to the PTG crew. You guys get these on ptgpodcast.com.
Yeah.
Okay.
We got them up on there.
Yeah, but it's like it's just been, like an emotional roller coaster for us. We've been hit with the highs and the lows. Philly sucked for us. I think that was the first or the second Sunday we missed in like the last 4 years.
Oh, wow.
So like that, yeah, that we were, making Sunday, just not winning tournaments.
Yeah.
The one thing I worry about is like the guys we have on the team. Derulo's got 2 kids. Steven just had a kid. Dan's got a kid. Like everyone's getting families, and it's just like, myself, I'm about to turn 30. Zupa, Chris are younger. Steven's younger. But like realistically, how much longer is, Derulo going to be able to do this with 2 kids and a real career? So
they got a lot of miles left in the tank, baby. You're going to see that having the kids is going to actually drive them probably even harder. It really does. It makes you have a really good perspective on what's going on around you, and leaving paintball is never the answer. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
Paintball is just, it does something on so many levels that I know I need, and I'm sure he does. And pro paintball, it changes you. You want to keep doing it.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because like Derulo always says, like, paintball is the best sleep I get because I always get my own hotel room, no kids. So
yeah,
that might be the deciding factor where he stays around for another couple of years.
Do you mind me asking what your guys' sponsorship looks like now? Like, do you guys still have to pay some of your way?
No. Cool. Our sponsorship ever since, like we went through 2 years with Dye to where like the paintball aspect was covered, but like we paid for practice paint and flights back in like 2016. Like now, like, Derulo is really good in real life with sales and, doing what he does and marketing. Myself, our other owner, Brett, And like, we've done a really good job the last 5 years of, networking outside sponsorships, for people that are incorporated with our real life companies, and finding
Cool.
ways to like network money, putting Revo as an LLC nonprofit, to really be able to, truly get like, the true sponsorship we need to make this work. So now none of the guys spend any money out of pocket.
Cool.
There we go.
It's nice. Like, none of the guys, I mean, the guys all, get a bunch of jerseys and extra guns to sell at the end of the year and make money, kind of help them out to offset like just being gone so much. But, everything's very comfortable right now.
There we go.
Cool.
That's awesome. I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah. Appreciate
Yeah.
that. So,
and I said that pro paintball, changed you, but it's all paintball. It's just this game is something special, man. And the relationships and the game itself are unmatched. It's just something special.
it's just the people you meet, man, the
Yeah.
connections, like, I know a lot of people talking about like networking at golf courses and all that, but like the
Mhm.
company I've been with going on for 4 years. I met that owner because of paintball,
Yeah.
right? Like, he
Wow.
hired me because of paintball.
Yeah.
Like, I've been there 4 years. It's been great. Like,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to justify, hey, I'm taking a week off for paintball. He's like, hey, man, I
Yeah.
already know what you got to do. Go do it.
He's like,
So,
hold on, you're sick again? Isn't the World Cup
Yeah.
this weekend?
yeah,
What are you
exactly.
talking about?
Like, Vegas the other year, he flew down, the owner of our company. He was like, hey, can I stay with you guys and hang out? I have a conference in Vegas. I'm like, dude,
Oh, cool.
absolutely. He
Yeah.
hung out with the team all week.
Nice.
It's just, little things. There's like, it's
Yeah.
funny because at our company, there's 6 people that played paintball. 4 of them played at a semi-pro level.
No way. Wow.
Yeah. So like, we have a company party in November at the local paintball field.
What do you
Oh,
do
dude.
if you don't mind us asking? Let
So I
listeners know.
do like procurements, like I order like equipment, warehouse inventory, stuff like that. So the company is called Life Safety. It's like fire alarm, sprinkler, security, battery backup. So it's all like new construction service.
Yeah.
So everything that keeps the building safe and monitored for all the bad shit that could happen is what we handle.
Awesome. Yeah, you
So
got to have
Yeah,
that.
very cool.
yeah,
Awesome,
it's
man.
fun.
Well, I absolutely love the fact that we gotten your whole download on your story, and we actually have the PTG World chat room is lit right now. They're excited that you're on the show.
That's what I
We're
like
on
to
our
hear.
Discord chat room, so we have some questions for you that we would love
Okay.
to ask you as well. Martian, you want to take one?
Yeah, actually, because there's a good question in here that made me remember about this rivalry. So it's from Sugar Shane 94, but he goes, first of all, huge thanks to you and Chris for coming to PBC Greensboro and hosting the clinic. He's personally used this info to help build a solid team foundation. His question is, what is your side of the New York Extreme versus Revo rivalry? And do you have any ideas of product drops or designs that's in the works? That's part 2 of the question.
So it's funny because like everyone thinks we hate NYX, and it's like
Yeah.
all the keyboard warriors behind the scenes are always like shitting on us or shitting on NYX, and it's like, you guys really have no idea. And it's like, when I did my Go Sports thing with Matty Marshall, they all thought I was joking. Like, it's a big brother and little brother rivalry, right? We beat the shit
Who's
out
the
of
big
each
brother?
other, obviously. It's not even a real
I
question.
mean, I'm just kidding.
Come on,
It's
stop.
not even a question.
Marcelo,
Damn, shots fired.
You're way smarter than that. Don't ask dumb questions. No, so like, those guys are all super cool with us. We practice those guys all the time. We never have any real beef, right? Like, yeah, people get in arguments at practice, but like, they're guys that we will hang out with outside of paintball. I talk to Harris on the regular. I talk to Bo on the regular. Like, it's more considered a rivalry because we're so close. We live so close. Like, we
Of
don't want to
course.
lose to each other.
Of course.
It's like, we don't hate those dudes. Like, there's no hate in that equation at all.
Yeah.
Well, that's no fun.
Yeah, I mean,
No, I'm
like,
just kidding.
yeah, I mean,
obviously we know that it's all fun and games, but
yeah,
Yeah.
but like the rivalry came like just shit talking in practice, and it's like, they beat us in semi-pro. Not many people know that when they were, I don't even remember, they might have been New York Extreme then, but then we go in the pro. They actually beat us their first year in pro, and then I believe the next year is when we started making like bets, and it's like we did the jersey bet. I bet them. we beat you, this happens. And they're like, okay, cool. So we ended up beating them. I designed that jersey with Todd and them, and it backfired on me because they made a shitload of money on those jerseys.
You designed the unicorn jersey?
Yeah, me and Todd designed that. Me, Todd, and
Dude,
Richie.
that jersey is like one of the best selling jerseys of all time. That's hilarious.
Yeah,
that
what's
is
hilarious
so funny.
is I should have patented and trademarked it.
Yeah.
And now they like, I mean, it's like cool, like, hey, we looked like idiots, but you funded our whole season. I'm like,
totally.
Thanks. Yeah. So
those ended up being super cool. That's actually awesome that is what went down though. I mean, I didn't know that. I didn't know that they got those jerseys because they lost a bet to you guys. That's super cool.
Yeah.
That's a really great trivia question. So maybe keep that in mind out there, PTG world.
We do some really cool trivias in the Discord and give away tons of cool prizes. That is a great question. Yeah.
The other like fun one that not many people knew about was like Pat Crafts is arguably probably their best player at the time. Steven was ours. And those two dudes would clash pretty hard at practice. They're both overachievers. So like me and Bo were talking like, hey, let's have them play one-on-ones for some steaks afterwards. And they're like, all right, bet. Like, they're like, I could smash each other, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, all right. I'm like, well, Pat, if Steven beats you, you have to wear his jersey the next 2 days of practice. And he's like, okay, cool. And vice versa. So like Steven went out there and just smoked and bunkered him in a one-on-one. So Pat's wearing Steven's jersey for 2 days of practice. And like, it's not like, hey man, here's my clean jersey. It's like, hey man, here's my jersey that's been sitting in my bag for 2 weeks that I haven't washed.
Oh no.
So like he had to wear this, and everyone was like calling him Steven. Then he'd take his mask off. They're like, oh, sorry, you're not Steven.
Yeah,
that's funny.
Yeah, but like Pat took it like a man. Went out there and
Pat's awesome.
did it. Yeah, Pat's good. I got a lot of respect for him. He's a good player.
Me too. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Good player, good dude, has a good head on his shoulders. He's been on the show, one of the more early episodes, but got a lot of love for Pat for sure.
Yeah,
dude, that is so funny. So what's the overall score between you two? I know there's some controversy over how that score is kept.
So Bo and I came to an agreement.
Okay,
right. It was 4-2 before
in favor of
us.
Okay,
before Philly, when they beat us in Philly, I put it to 4-3. So Arslan was the one commentating and saying it's actually 3-3, and it's not true
because you're counting the
invitational.
Invitational, that's right.
Yeah,
interesting. I think they should be counted.
It was.
I think that should be counted.
It was a ref event.
Yeah, for sure.
But Bo thought it should count, and I was like, if you're cool with it, I'm cool with it.
Yeah.
So Bo said it counts. I mean, we did mercy rule them.
Ooh.
Yeah. And it's like, that was like one event to like, normally like when we play them, our coaches are like, hey, if you guys talk any shit, you're sitting. And I'm like, can I talk shit? And they're like, nah. So like that event was like one, they kind of like took the muzzle off and we got to have some fun with it. And like anybody that watches that match, like that's the kind of paintball I like. There was like several points where the horn goes off, 10 seconds later, we're still shooting each other.
Yeah.
We're just burying each other. Like it's fun, right? Like obviously they lost us, we won, but it's like, it's just fun to be able to play a match against people that will never bitch when they get overshoot.
Mm-hmm.
You can shoot Harris 1,000 times and you'll never even get a smug out of him. He just eats it. All those guys. And it's like, that's why I like respect them, because they talk to shit. They don't get butt hurt.
Yeah.
And like the invitational, like we put it on them pretty bad. Like there was like NXL refs, I think like 2 or 3 of our guys would have got ejected.
Yeah.
So, because it was just bad, but it's fun. Like at an invitational, like all these little kids are watching, they're like getting hyped because like it's just people just getting walked off the field every single point.
Yeah, people are excited to see those matchups for sure.
It's fun.
That's what it's all about. We got another question from Tally. Does Revo have Heat's number? That's what he's wondering. Does it have anything to do with practicing them? He's seen that that you guys have like Heat looked unstoppable and then play Revo and then look mortal. It's happened a couple times. So what do you have to say about that?
I don't think there's such thing as a team having another team's number, because like the fields are always changing, right? It's hard to say like we have your number when the fields are always different, right? I think Sunday morning, after beating Impact, we were more motivated than you, right? Like we just knocked out, I think they were currently ranked the number 1 team. So like
y'all had worked out every kink that needed to be worked out, and we're ready to rock and roll.
Well, I
You
mean,
guys are
that and,
ready.
like, when we lost a level, like, Jason told us we were out. Like, I don't think anybody really knew this. He was like, "Hey,
Oh, no
sorry,
way.
yeah," he's like, "Damage got it." So, like, I'm not kidding, like, me and Drew were like, "Hey, we're changing our flights, we're going home early." Our guns were
Oh,
degassed,
damn. That's crazy.
and then we hear Jason over there talking, and he's like, "Wait, I got the rule wrong." He's like, "Damage is actually out, Revo's actually in." So we
Damn.
gear back up, put all of our shit back on, play Impact, beat Impact, and it's like, well,
Mhm.
it's like we already beat Impact, so like, what's one more?
Mhm.
It's not like we have I don't believe in teams having
Yeah.
teams numbers. Like,
Yep.
I do. I do.
do you?
I think you see it a lot. I know I've been on both ends of it. Revo, actually, you guys had our number. I felt for a long time on Dynasty. It
Yeah.
was like we'd see you guys, and for some
Yeah.
reason, you just had our
17,
number.
18. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like
Yeah.
one day we were like, all right, it's time to put an end to that and flip it. And I don't think you guys, I mean, I don't want to knock on wood, but you haven't knocked us out on Sunday since, that's for sure. AC
Mhm.
Dallas was another team that, like, for some reason just had our number,
Yeah.
I would feel like we're playing better than them. And I think there's so much that goes into that, just the psychology of a team. Like when a team knocks you out, um, like a fighter in a fight, if you get knocked out in a fight, the next time you go and fight that person or anyone, there's a little bit of hesitation of like, is this going to happen again? I mean, I was winning that whole match and then just one right hook got through and I was sleeping. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I think there is something to it.
Mhm.
And I think you do see it in sports. Certain teams just
Okay.
match up well against other teams, whether it's
Mhm.
style or confidence or a mix of the both. I do also agree with you, though, that with how much the fields change and how dynamic everything is, like, it can kind of change at each event. But I do think that there's something to having a team's number.
And we're gonna see you again soon, actually, for
Yeah.
practice. We're
Couple
gonna be
weeks.
practicing you guys. Yeah,
Yeah. Couple
and we
weeks.
practiced you guys before Philly as well. So it's just it's sports. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
like it's sports.
But
I
it's
think
like, oh, sorry, go ahead.
I think often that helps the less experienced team too. Those practices against the top tier teams, because
Yeah.
it's your only chance to gain that confidence against them. If you
Mm-hmm.
only see the best teams in the event, it's really hard to beat them.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
And I guess I'm like confusing it too, like, because like a lot of times we get asked, like, man, you guys have Heat's number, you're better than them. And it's like, I would never on paper say we are a better team than Heat. Like they've won championships, not just
Mhm.
events, and it's like
Mhm.
we haven't done that. So
Mhm.
like, have we beaten them in tournaments? Yeah. But like that doesn't make us better. We just
Totally. Yeah.
we just
I
happen to beat
understand
them.
that.
Like
Right.
until like we beat them in a first and second match, I would never even consider that argument. So I guess maybe I'm confusing the two,
Hmm.
but
I get what you mean. I do, for sure. I totally get what you mean.
Well,
Again,
here
like
I'll be the
sometimes
first to say y'all are playing some great ball, and it's always fun paintball when we match up. No
I
matter what.
appreciate that. It's always fun, man.
Yeah, that's it. It really is.
So
all right, well that leads into a good question from Tad Parker. What was the main lesson or pivotal moment in Revo's journey that took them from a mid-tier team to a constant Sunday threat? Kind of touched on it, but maybe we can be specific in a there was one time there.
like what like triggered it for the good for the future?
Yeah, like a
Yeah.
lesson that.
Yeah, was
Yeah.
there maybe an event that you guys went home and had a big meeting, or was there a player pickup or some kind of, moment where things did shift and the team started becoming a threat?
Um, I would probably have to say it's like when the whole team learned short-term memory,
Mhm.
letting little
Mm,
things go. Because like, early on in our stages, like we were kids, right? So like I would get a penalty and I'd come in the pits and be pissed, right? And then it would, get in our heads for the rest of the match. And when we stopped caring about the little things and the bigger picture is, I think when we were able to keep composure better, you started seeing us coming back in matches more instead of going down 3 points, getting flustered. It's like, once we learned, like, let shit go, fight to the end,
Mhm.
we realized as long as there's time still on the clock, it's like there's still a chance. And
That's such a huge lesson for people to learn right there. And
yeah,
that's deeper than paintball. That one is way deeper than paintball.
yeah, that's
You know,
maturity.
yeah, you gotta, like we talk about it all the time. You gotta boost through the lows. You gotta keep the sails up. We got a bunch of mantras that you cannot let that kind of energy into the pits, into your
Yeah.
life. You know what I mean? Like you gotta keep the sales up for sure.
Yeah. And like our coach is really good about it too. It's like we get a penalty, we come in pissed off. He's like, look, I don't care.
Yeah.
Get ready for the next point. Like,
Let's go.
He doesn't even want an explanation on it. And I'm like, that's kind of cool. I don't have to explain myself,
Absolutely.
Like, and I guess like divisional, like we get penalties. Like, I guess like every adolescent kid, right? You get a penalty in the back of your mind, you think repercussion. So you think you're getting set.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess a lot of guys would get really upset about it. And it's like now that, we're on adulthood, late 20s, early 30s, like everyone's like, it is what it is, moving on. So I think that is what really set us over the edge and, pushed us into that next zone.
Mm-hmm. And then we have a couple questions here that you already went over, just talking about, how hard it is to have a shallow roster. We kind of dove into that. And same thing, there's another question from Chris Young in regards to the X Factor game. You guys being, obviously tired. And then from what we've heard, injured had a lot to do with how that turned out. And then I think the real question that we need to get down to, we got Shadow wondering, pancakes or waffles? What are you choosing?
Probably pancakes, man.
Pancakes.
Yeah, gotta go.
It is a tough one.
It is a tough one.
I gotta go waffles. I think I would choose waffles. But if some homemade pancakes, you could get them nice and crispy.
Those are
nice. Those are next level.
That is a really tough one, man. It is so tough.
I've actually never been asked that in my entire life. That's kind of got me. Now I'm like second guessing my choice.
Actually,
there's some really good waffles out there. There's some really good waffles.
Because it's like you got to look at it like, is there such thing as a pancake maker? Because there's a waffle maker. Like, so maybe it's like the world biased. I don't know. Now I'm kind of like messed up. I don't like it. So
they have those cool pancake machines at the hotels. Those are pretty awesome. True.
But if you go to like Texas, you get a Texas state shaped waffle.
That's right. I look forward to that every time.
Yeah, exactly.
That's Tyler's breakfast. He's always eating the waffles. I could have breakfast. Like, bro, you're having a waffle all the time.
Hell yeah. Peanut butter all slathered over it. Yeah.
Carb up.
The good stuff, man.
Damn, dude. Well, man, Henry, it's been about 2 hours, dude. I know it's getting late over there. We really appreciate you hanging out with us on the show and telling us the Revo story too, man. I was a fan, and I'm even more of a fan now. And as long as it's not against us, definitely wishing you guys well at World Cup.
Yeah, we got some redemption for you guys. You've knocked us out, or you've beaten us the last 2 times, World Cup and Philly.
Yeah, again, I mean, look, every time we play you guys, there's a little bit of a chip on the shoulder too, because you guys have done it to us. You guys are a good team. You guys come to ball. So you put the league on notice for sure.
We appreciate you, dude. Henry, thank you so much for everything, brother.
Cool. I appreciate you guys. And Marcelo, congrats to you and the Dynasty guys for winning the last one. It's good to see that.
Brother. Appreciate it. Yeah, totally is good for the camp.
Where can people find you on Instagram? Is there any plugs that you want to throw out there before we let you go?
I mean, obviously, I want to thank the sponsors, right? GI Sports, Core Action Sports, Planet Eclipse, Freak Barrels, Sandana, my boy Todd and Weapons, making the sickest threads in the game, New Balance, Ninja, Exalt, all the great, amazing sponsors out there that make this possible for us. I want to thank all the guys on the team for all the hard work they put in, because at the end of the day, they're the ones that are really helping the ship go. Mm-hmm. So just looking forward to what's to come. Hopefully World Cup's another good event for us, and we'll see.
Love that. And then what's your Instagram handle so people can follow you on there?
So my Instagram handle is actually spelled differently since Maddie always pronounced my name wrong. So it's actually Stentz. How Maddie used to call it. It's STENTZ05.
There we go.
So,
you just caved. You just said, fine, that's my new name.
Well, it's funny. So I don't know if Maddie ever knew that or not, but I purposely made that making fun of him.
That's so awesome. Funny. Yeah. You are the paintball troll.
Yes, he is, dude.
Look at that troll job. You changed your last name to Troll Maddie.
Well, you're a damn legend, Henry, and we appreciate you so much for coming on PTG. This is a great one, brother. You stay safe out there, all right?
All right, boys. Safe travels. See you soon.
Yes, sir.
Awesome,
you
man.
too.
Peace.
Later, bro.
All right, PTG World, thank you guys so much for hanging out with us on another episode. If you guys want, you can head over to ptgpaintball.com, click the Patreon link, join our Discord, get access. We're doing so much cool stuff there. Our Discord is part of the show now. Our members are able to call in, they ask questions. We do monthly private shows where we have tons of sweet giveaways. We have these amazing GOAT meetings. So much cool stuff. Really informative, a lot of behind the scenes access for you guys. And, as always, it's a great way to show your support for the show. We're incredibly thankful. And if you guys do need a website done, our website was done by Rusty Glaze. He's the man. He's not our coach anymore, which is a huge bummer, but he still does dominate the web space. So thank you guys, PTG fam. And as always, we're going to see you very, very soon.